येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंचाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तनम् हृद्यन्तस्त्वभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सताम्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। सर्वशास्त्रादि पीयूष सर्ववैदिक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाद्य सर्वलोकैक दृक्पद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवतो प्रभु कलिद्वंतो तितादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तिता परमानंद पाथाय प्रेम वर्ष अक्षराय ते सर्वद सर्वसेवाय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोस्तुते। मद एक बंधु मद संगे मद गुरु मद महादन मद निष्ठारक मद भाग्य मद आनंद नमोस्तुते। असाधु साधु तादाइन अति नीचोच ताकरा हा ना मुंचा कदाचिन्मां प्रेम न हृत कंथयो स्फुरः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna, everyone. So before we start, I'd like to offer our most humble obeisances at the lotus feet of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Is one of the very prominent commanders in the army of Srila Prabhupada, and such a dedicated servant of Srila Prabhupada. I mean, we just see uh, his every year and decades of service, like just so powerful preaching, whether it is in book distribution. He was like always like Delhi. He wanted Delhi to be like the top book distributor all around the world, you know. And whether that's in his personal deity worship, he used to always travel with his deities. And any place you go, if Gopal Krishna Maharaj is there, morning Mangla Aarti, he'll be on the altar offering Mangla Aarti, you know. And if you just see his power of his preaching in New Delhi, like in New Delhi right now, we have 21 ISKCON temples. Can you imagine? 21 ISKCON temples. just by the power of Gopal Krishna Maharaj. I mean, all over ISKCON, it's like, when such a great personality leaves, it is actually a loss to the entire world. People may not realize it, but the whole world, everything that good is happening in the world is because of this presence of these pure devotees. Mhm. So there's a loss to the entire world, and certainly a big loss to ISKCON society. We have like so many wonderful disciples around the world, doing such nice seva. So we offer our heartfelt condolences to all those. And personally for us also, like it is so rare to be in the presence of such exalted personality. So personally for us also, it's such a big loss to actually miss the association of such exalted personalities. So we offer our most humble obeisances at the lotus feet of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Vancha kalpa tarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Okay, Hare Krishna. So let's continue. We are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, 12th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And we are discussing the 5 Ds, right? The 5 Ds. And anyone remembers what are the first 3 Ds that we discussed?
Dissatisfaction, disobedience, disturbance, distraction, and deficiency.
3 Ds we discussed.
So say it again. Sorry, I got distracted. Yeah. First one you said is?
Dissatisfaction.
Okay, dissatisfaction. And why was Brahma's creation, why was he dissatisfied?
Kumaras.
Okay, so first what happened was when Brahmaji created the 4 Kumaras, then because of, no, Kumaras comes later, Prabhu. First, dissatisfaction because of creation of ignorance, right? So he created the 5 kinds of ignorance, and because of the ignorance, though he had to do that seva, but he was not happy because even he's a devotee and he wants all the conditioned souls to actually get free, go back home, back to Godhead. So he was not happy with that seva. And we mentioned that point, that how sometimes we'll have to offer certain services, which we know is not, you do that service and you don't feel happy. Like we mentioned, like, a senior devotee may want to correct someone in their seva, and he may have to chastise a particular devotee that, oh, how can you do this? This is a standard Prabhupada said. But after, do you feel happy? You feel, not happy. You feel dissatisfied. That, he's come sincerely, he or she has come sincerely to offer seva, and, I had to chastise him. So, in that mood. So, first was dissatisfaction, right? So, second one is
Disobedience.
disobedience. So here is where the 4 Kumaras. So he created the 4 Kumaras, and then he gave the order. You go create go create progeny. But the 4 Kumaras decided to join the ISKCON Brahmachari ashram, and they said, "We are not going to do this, right? We are not going to do this." So disobedience. And Brahma, like, he had created this, like, 4 Kumaras are his own sons, and he gave them an order, and they have refused to follow the order, right? So the second one was disobedience. And we discussed this point that we have been assigned a big project, and you have like, okay, all these devotees are here to assist you. And immediately you say, okay, Prabhu, can you please do this seva? And they say, no, we cannot do this. We want to go, we want to chant Hare Krishna, So the mood of disobedience. Then third one was disturbance, right? So we have how after Brahmaji, for 4 Kumaras, they disobeyed the order of Brahmaji. Then Brahmaji got angry. And from that anger, Rudra actually appeared, right? So, and Rudra, then there were 11 Rudras and 11 Rudranis. And when there was 11 Rudras and Rudranis, then Brahmaji said, okay, procreate. Because that's his main task, that procreate. And then when they started the task of procreation, then they created people, they created progeny of the same, what do you say? Same nature, right? Same nature, same strength, and same form. And all these progenies of the Rudras and Rudranis were created. And when they were created, then what happened? Because the nature of Rudra is that of destruction, then all these people started destroying, up to the extent that they came to destroy Brahmaji himself. Imagine his own creation, and they're coming to destroy Brahmaji. And Brahmaji said, no, no, stop, right? And we discussed the point that sometimes we may have to, like, it wasn't Rudra's fault here, right? It wasn't one way Brahmaji, he gave the instruction, create progeny, but we made the key point here is to assign devotees seva based on their nature, right? And that is one thing that Brahma actually did not see, right? So hence the world was being destroyed. Then he told Rudra, okay, stop now. Now is not the time for your seva. Now you just go, you chant Hare Krishna. You perform penance, right? And then when the time is right for distraction, then we'll call you and your seva is needed. Okay. So that is 3D. Now what is the 4D? So that we're going to discuss today. 4 and 5D will be today. So 4D is actually very okay, let's read it. So we are in text number 28 at this point, right? So we did dissatisfaction, disobedience, disturbance, and the next two these are distraction and deficiency. We are going to do distraction and deficiency. Okay, so now from text 28, we start with distraction. Okay, there's also, all these, like last class we discussed, like such practical instructions for each one of us, in our seva. So again, this next two episodes also very, very practical. So 28, let's start.
Vacham duhitaram tanvim swayam bhur haratim manaha akamam chakame kshata sakama iti nashrutam.
O Vidura, we have heard that Brahma had a daughter named Vak, who was born from his body and who attracted his mind towards sex, although she was not sexually inclined towards him. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So we have to understand this. So he says Shataha. So you have seen this word Shataha again and again. It says, oh Vidura. Is my voice okay? Everyone can? Okay. So it says, oh Vidura. And he says, we have heard. If you see the last word, iti na shrutam. Thus we have heard. Now, why is Maitreya Rishi saying in this form that we have heard, right? Because this actually shows the hesitation of Maitreya Rishi to actually speak this, And this is a very, very important point. See, Brahmaji is the the creator of this material world. He's the father of all living entities. And if the father, like a senior personality, makes a mistake, and if someone actually just goes, so the point is, like, as soon as you go into the mode of, oh, he's senior, and you make a fault finding, then it is an offense on your part. So Maitreya Rishi is very careful to speak in such a way that he's saying he's hesitating to speak about the fault of a senior Vaishnava. And hence he says, we have heard. And the reason he's speaking is to teach us a lesson, right? Not to actually lower the position of a Vaishnava, because if he's speaking in such a way to actually show, oh, Brahmaji has faults, then it is Vaishnava Prad. Vaishnava Prad. Very, very key point, right? And if you see entire Srimad Bhagavatam, we see the mistakes of how many personalities? So many personalities, right? Parikshit Maharaj, we read so much about his glories, and then mistake. What mistake? He was hungry, he was tired, he put a death snake around the neck of Shamik Rishi. Right? And so we are seeing that even Lord Shiva, we see mistake. What was the mistake of Lord Shiva? He got attracted to Mohini Murti and he started chasing after Mohini Murti. Now, why in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Amala Purana, the best, the highest of all Puranas, are the faults of these great personalities actually pointed out? Right? Normally if someone great makes a mistake, you don't want to advertise it. But imagine writing that in Srimad Bhagavatam. The whole, people to come, everyone is actually going to read this. So the point of having these mistakes is not to criticize that person, but to actually teach us a lesson. Teach us a lesson. And hence, their mistakes are pointed out in Srimad Bhagavatam. So similarly, in that mood, Maitreya Rishi is actually saying this point that yes, that was a mistake. And also, who else we see? We say Vyasadeva himself, right? Vyasadeva himself, the author, he's saying that I made a mistake, right? What was the mistake of Vyasadeva? He compiled all these Vedas, Puranas, and said like, and then what did Narad Muni come and said like, are you happy with what you have done? Are you happy identifying with your mind and the body as a self? Then he criticizes it. So imagine Vyasadeva himself is not shy to make his own mistake, right? To write about his own mistakes. So all these mistakes are actually for us to learn a lesson, not to criticize a Vaishnava. Right? So very sensitive, not in the mood of fault finding, right? Not in the mood of laughing, not in the mood of like, I am better, I am better. See, senior Vaishnava has done this. Not in all that mood, right? In a very humble mood, a very sensitive, very with a hesitation, he's actually speaking this particular thing, right? Okay. So, and what is the lesson here? So Maitreya Rishi is actually saying that Vacham referring to Vak, that's the name of the daughter. Duhitaram, his daughter. His daughter named Vak, who was Tanvin. Tanvin means born of his own body. And Swayambhuva, Brahmaji himself, his mind was attracted akama, right? Though Vak was not, she was without sexual inclination, but Brahmaji was sakama. So we see akama and sakama. Brahmaji was sexually inclined towards his daughter, who was not inclined towards him. So imagine this is actually one way, attraction to one's own daughter. I mean, that's so like one way degraded, But the point here is to actually Maitreya Rishi is speaking this just to inform everyone that how lust is so dangerous and so powerful that it can even affect Brahmaji. It can even affect Brahmaji. So, right. So Prabhupada in the purport, he actually quotes one verse from the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It actually says, Matras Swarsra Duhitrava. So basically 9, 19, 17, where the translation is, one should not allow oneself to sit on the same seat, even with one's own daughter, sister, or mother. For the senses are so strong that even though one is very advanced in knowledge, he may be attracted to sex. So this entire episode is pointed out that how, lust is so powerful. So Prabhupada actually makes this point in purport that if Brahma could be a victim of sexual urge, so what to speak of others, right? And he makes this point that unrestricted mixing with the fair sex is actually the cause of downfall, right? Especially among younger generation. Certainly a great stumbling block for spiritual progress is this unrestricted association with the opposite sex. Right? Okay. Now, another very interesting point. One may say that didn't we previously read how Brahmaji has offered his prayers? And what did Krishna come and tell Brahmaji? Brahmaji, you will not fall down. Right? He actually said that. Yeah, sure. Then how come Brahmaji is now getting attracted to his own daughter? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually elaborates, and Prabhupada also mentions in the purport that we have to understand that this happened in some other kalpa, some other day of Brahma when this Chatushloki Bhagavatam was not spoken. Because the day when the Chatushloki Bhagavatam was spoken, when we read what happened in the previous chapters with Krishna himself coming and giving that knowledge to Brahma, after hearing that knowledge, it's not possible that Brahmaji could have been attracted to his daughter. So this happened in some other day of Brahma when this, that prayer and that interaction on Chatushloki Bhagavatam was not spoken. Okay. So that's another important point to remember. Okay. Any questions on this point? The importance of like when a senior, even in our ISKCON society, unfortunately, we see such incidences, right? A senior devotee, sometimes a guru makes a mistake. What is our attitude towards it? Right? So this episode is very, very enlightening in the sense that how should our mood be towards that, right? So, okay, let's continue. Text 29.
Tam adharme krita matim vilokya pitaram sutaha marichi mukya munayo vishrambhat pratyabodhayan.
Hare Krishna. Translation: Thus, finding their father so deluded in an act of immorality, the sages headed by Marichi, all sons of Brahma, spoke as follows with great respect. Hare Krishna.
So okay, so the sons, Marichi, etc., like all the sons headed by Marichi, they are now seeing how their father is so deluded, attracted to sexually to his own daughter. So they are seeing this, and then they actually spoke. But how did they speak? Particular word Vishrambhat, right? So actually this word Vishrambhat, you see in the Nectar of Devotion, how it is said, how should one actually have or move to a guru? Vishrambhena seva, right? With all respect, one should actually serve the guru. So that word Vishrambhena is a very heavy word, means with full respect, you know. So Marichi and the other sons, they are approaching Brahmaji, but with great respect, not with a mood of like, oh, how can you do this? You're the father, you know. With great respect, they are actually approaching, right? So, and then he says, adharmena krita matim, right? How can you, right? So, seeing the father in this matter of immortality, right? Immortality, the mind given so. Seeing this, they actually approach the father and pratyabodhayan. They actually submitted with Vishrambhena. They actually submitted, spoke with great respect. Now, Prabhupada in the purport, he makes three excellent points. You know, how to not offensively point mistakes at senior people. You know, and in ISKCON society, like frankly speaking, that there has been incidences. How to deal with this, right? So how to see, okay, a senior person has made a mistake. How to not offensively point out the mistake, because this is a very critical point. Little bit, if you actually say in such a way, it could be an offense on your part. It could be Vaishnava Aparadha on your part. So you have to be very careful how we are actually saying this, right? So 3 points Prabhupada says. First one, he actually says, is you see the mistake as a mistake. You see the mistake as a mistake. Not that, oh, so and so elevated person has done that, hence it is not a mistake. It is okay. No, even though such an elevated person has made a mistake, Brahmaji has made a mistake, he's attracted, it is still a mistake. You cannot just leave it that, oh, it's not a mistake because so and so. So see the mistake as a mistake. Don't lose that sense of discrimination. Right? That's the first point. Right. So because so and so personality has done that, that does not make that act bona fide. Right? It's very important. Like someone, so a very senior person has done something. The mistake is a mistake. Don't say that because he is done, then it's okay. No, it is still a mistake, right? So see the mistake as a mistake, first point. Second is, do not disrespect that personality. In our heart, do not develop like a mood of ridicule or blasphemy or a negative feeling, for that person. Now it is very common. Something happens, and then people, without even hesitating, even devotees, they go on Facebook and then they start blaspheming. Oh, he's so and so. How can he do this? Da, 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 da. They keep saying. That is not the right mood. Especially on Facebook, like how I was in one of initiation that Vaisheshika Prabhu was giving, and he actually asked everyone to make a vow. Part of the initiation, he said, don't go to Facebook and criticize anyone. Because it's become so common. People just go on Facebook and just, casually just write, oh, this Vaishnava, this, the. I mean, it's like, this is not proper etiquette, right? So here, second point, do not disrespect. Still maintain love for that person. It's just like this. If a person has some contagious disease, right? Do you actually go and, start speaking ill about that person? No, you have to maintain the distance, but you still respect him, that he or she has done so much service. You meditate on all the services they have done, they have offered, how they have even helped you in your spiritual life, maybe. You meditate on that, right? Meditate on that part. So don't actually disrespect or ridicule that great person. Meditate on the past years of seva and service. Right. So first is see the mistake as a mistake. Second, do not actually blaspheme that particular person. Third one, see what is the personal lesson we can learn from this episode. Right. So what is the personal lesson we learn from this episode? Especially like if you see in our current society, we can learn that, yeah, in spite of so many years of seva, yes, mistake can happen. We are conditioned souls. We are getting rectified. Maya is very strong, particularly lust is so strong that mistakes can happen. So that should not lose our faith in the process, right? We shouldn't lose our faith and say like, oh, no, this Krishna consciousness movement is not, it's not enough. I have to find somewhere else a proper solution. No. The process is powerful, but we have a big challenge. We are actually declaring a war against Maya. And it's not easy. There are going to be challenges. There are going to be obstacles. There are going to be allurements. However, as we progress, maybe we'll have bigger and bigger challenges, allurements to face, right? So we learn the lesson from this, that we have to be so careful, in our fight against Maya. So 3 points. Like Prabhupada so nicely he explains in purport, so I just divided into 3 points. Right? Okay? Everyone okay with 3 points? See the mistake as a mistake. Do not develop a negative mentality against that person. Do not disrespect, do not blaspheme him. And third, what is the personal lesson we can learn? Okay. Next, text 30.
नैतत् पूर्वै कृतं त्वद्ये न करिष्यन्ति चापरे यस्त्वं दुहितरं गच्छेर् अनिगृह्या गजं प्रभुः.
Hare Krishna. O Father, this performance in which you are endeavoring to complicate yourself was never attempted by any other Brahma, nor by anyone else, nor by you in previous kalpas, nor will anyone dare to attempt it in the future. You are the supreme being in the universe. So how is it that you want to have a sex with your daughter and cannot control your desire? Hare Krishna.
Mhm. So it is interesting, like, if you think about it, like, okay, it is actually a very shameful act that Brahma has done. He's got attracted to his own daughter sexually. So what would Marichi actually and the saints headed by Marichi say? You know? Like imagine yourself in a situation that you have to say something to someone who's done wrong. How would you actually approach it? Right? So here, if you see from Marichi, etc., the other sons, they actually say, Na etat. Never was such an act kritam performed purvahi by any other Brahma, or this never happened in any other previous day of yours, previous kalpa, right? And nor in the future will anyone attempt to do this. Right? And then they pointed out, you are actually the supreme being, you are Prabhu, you are the supreme being. Then how is it that you are actually attracted to the opposite sex? Right? So what is the key point here? What are they reminding Brahmaji? They are reminding Brahmaji of his great position as the creator of this world. So it's very interesting. So this is actually a very key point that, if someone makes a mistake, if you go and remind them, actually, you are so and so, right? You are the guru, you are this position. This is your position. Then how is it that you actually, did an act which is actually not, correct? So one way it is making the statement more as a question. And because we may not know, there may be certain circumstances that led to the whole, downfall. So asking, putting the whole thing as a question, how is it? You are such a great leader. How is it that you have committed an act which is not approved by everyone, right? So this reminding the person of his high responsible position, right? See, the magnitude of a mistake depends upon how great the person is. Is it true or not? Right? What is the example for this? Let's say from Bhagavatam we see Ajamil. Right? Ajamil made a mistake. and he got attracted to a prostitute. How many people did that affect, that the mistake affect? It was mainly like localized, like he gave up his wife, and then that family was affected. Now, if you consider in contrast to that, who else can we think of made a mistake? DT, right? We'll come to this. DT made a mistake. What was her mistake? She wanted to have a union, sex, at a wrong time of the day, right? Wrong time of the day. And she could not control, right? But how, because she was so powerful, she's the wife of Kashyap Muni, right? She was so powerful. When she made a mistake, how many people did it affect? Actually affected the whole world, the whole universe, actually. Because from that, who was born? Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Right? Imagine Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha was born, and then the whole world, whole universe was actually affected by their activities. So, greater the position, the mistake, actually, the effect of the mistake becomes bigger. Right? So, what does this tell us? The higher the position, the more careful we have to be while actually doing our devotional service. Right? So when we actually remind someone of their responsibility, that actually, in a way, as a question, that how is it that you can do? You are such a responsible. That's a way of putting it out. Right? And I'm sorry to quote this, but in Spider-Man movie, he says, "With great power comes great responsibility." And some of the statements are actually so wonderful, and not going into too much details of the movie, but basically he tells that you are getting great power, with that comes great responsibility. Right? So Brahmaji, you have such great power. So your responsibility is so high. Right? Okay. Let's see further.
Text 31. Tejiyasamapi yetan nashushlokyam jagadguro yadvritam anutishtan vai lokakshemaya kalpate.
Hare Krishna. Even though you are the most powerful being, this act does not suit you because your character is followed for spiritual improvement by people in general. Hare Krishna.
So it's very interesting how Prabhupada explains this point. So what is Marichi making the point? That even though you're the most great and powerful personality, right, this act actually does not suit you because your character is going to be followed for spiritual improvement. Because you're a leader, everyone is going to follow you. Brahmaji, how Brahmaji? So up to this point, we see that we actually say, oh, Brahmaji is setting an example for us. How before he performed seva, what did he do? He actually did meditation. Like how many times we are reading that every step he's doing meditation, right? And he's actually praying to the Lord and offers such nice prayers. Anyone remembers the 4 points we said like we should offer before doing the seva? What is that?
Empowerment.
Empowerment.
Prayer that we should never get proud, no pride.
Yeah, free of false ego, right? Third,
And then
Deviation.
from the spiritual.
deviation. Yeah, we should not be.
Reciprocation.
And fourth, reciprocation.
Reciprocation.
Right. So 4 points, and we say actually we should learn from Brahma's example. So up to this point, we are saying follow Brahmaji. And now Mariji is making the point. If you do such an act, people are following you. You are an example. You are a leader for everyone. So how will people actually, how can you do such an act because everyone is going to follow you? But still the point is that oh Brahmaji, you remain unimpeachable. Prabhupada makes the point in purport. What does this mean? Right? He says, similarly, Brahma, Prabhupada gives an example in purport. The sun can evaporate water from even a filthy place. Right? Yet it is not affected by that filth. Right? The sun, the powerful sun, will absorb water from so many places. But is the sun affected by all this? No. So similarly, Brahma, such a great personality, he remains unimpeachable in all conditions. But still, since he is a spiritual master of all living entities, his behavior and character should be ideal. Right? So even we see another episode in Srimad Bhagavatam, where we see Chitraketu Maharaj. It comes in sixth canto, right? And then he's traveling everywhere, right? And then he sees Lord Shiva, right? And he sees Parvati is sitting on the lap of Lord Shiva. And they are actually addressing an entire assembly of sages. Now, Chitraketu Maharaj, he came and he pointed out, right? And he knew that this is Lord Shiva. He's not affected by this, right? He's not going to be affected. Parvati is sitting on his lap. He's not affected by, the sex. And we make the point that Lord Shiva is so tolerant that even when when Parvati came to agitate him, he did not get disturbed, right? So he's not affected. But because people will follow the example of Lord Shiva, hence it was wrong. That's what Chitraketu Maharaj did. And Lord Shiva, he appreciated it, right? He said yes, but Parvati could not. Right? And then we see the whole episode how Parvati cursed Maharaj Chitraketu. Right? So such great personalities are unimpeachable, right? Just like the sun. But because people are going to follow their example, hence it is wrong for Brahmaji to actually do this. Okay. So we are text 31, right? Yeah. Okay. So see, okay, okay, this is nice to remember. So a mistake is a mistake, right? When we actually fail to learn the lesson from it. Is it true? Right? A mistake is a mistake when we do not learn what is the lesson behind it. Second point, a mistake is a mistake when we deny to accept the mistake. I said, no, it's not a mistake. You made a mistake, but you're saying, no, I didn't do it. Right? A mistake is a mistake if we justify that act. We say, no, this is right. I am so and so. I have the power to do this. And we justify that act. Right? But a mistake is not a mistake when we actually regret, we remember the mistake, and we take steps to actually correct that mistake. And actually, one thing is,
When we regret, what is it, please?
the third one is a mistake is not a mistake if we regret, right? We talk of the power of repentance. It comes in, we discussed that when Parikshit Maharaj made the mistake, then what was his mood? He went back and immediately he was repenting. But then how can I do that? I always worship the Brahmana, so how could I actually put a death snake on? So that repentance, that regret, or repentance, we can say. And then I said, remember, we always remember, and actually why I'm saying remember, because it makes us humble. Like in our sadhana also, we may say that, just last week I made this mistake. And it always makes us humble and say like, okay, Krishna, please help me. This Maya is too strong. Please help me. You can say like, oh, last week I had this lusty thought came into my mind. Oh, I'm so fallen. Krishna, please help. It actually keeps us in the position of prayer, right? So we make a mistake. We are conditioned souls. It's one of the four points that conditioned souls do is they make mistakes. So we'll make a mistake. But if we see the mistake and we are actually in that mood of, oh, I made a mistake. Please forgive me. Krishna, please help. Let me not do this mistake again. So first point is repentance or regret. Second is remember, we have that mood of humility. And third, we take steps to actually commit ourselves so that we do not make the mistake again. What is the step we can do so that I don't repeat the same mistake? Then it is not a mistake in the sense that you have actually done what it takes to correct that mistake. Right? But if we are justifying it, we are denying it, or we are failing to learn the lesson, then that is a mistake. Right? So when we say Brahma is unimpeachable, then we'll see further how Brahma actually takes the right step to actually correct the mistake. Okay. So yeah, and particularly the word we see sulokyam, shlokyam, good behavior, rhythm, character, anutishtan. Right? Am I reading? Yeah, anutishtan. Which basically your good behavior, your character will certainly be followed by the lokaha, by the entire world. Right? So hence this act is not approved of you, even though it does not affect you. Okay. Everyone good? Okay. So now let's see. Okay, next verse. Let's go to 32.
Next 32. Tasmai namo bhagavate ya idam svena rochisha atmastham vyanjayam asa sadharmam patum arhati. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, who by his own effulgence, while situated in himself, has manifested this cosmos. May he also protect religion for all goodness.
So what is Marichi and the sons doing? They pointed out Brahma's mistake. And how did they do it? First, they say, oh, you are actually Prabhu. You are the supreme creator. I mean, you're the creator. How can you do such a thing? And second, they actually, you are unimpeachable, but everyone will follow your act. Hence, it's wrong, not right that you did that. And then now they are saying, Tasmai Namo Bhagavate, right? They're saying we offer our respectful obeisances, right? They are actually praying to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Idam Svena Rochisha, okay? By his, who is situated in himself by his own effulgence, right? He is situated in himself by his own effulgence. And Vyanjayam Asa, who has manifested this cosmos, Dharmam Patum Arati. May he also protect religion for all goodness. Right? May he protect religion. So something adharma has happened, and they have actually turned to Krishna and say, you please protect dharma. Now, another very wonderful point here. I mean, this section is so powerful. So first is, okay, they actually said what they had to say to Brahmaji. In what mood was there? Fault finding mood? No. In mood of Vishrambhi, with all due respect, they actually said. And then Brahmaji actually, even after hearing this, he was not enlightened. He was not enlightened. And this shows that actually lust will not dissipate only by instruction. Lust will dissipate when we actually receive the mercy of the Lord. So hence Marichi and the sons, they actually call for the mercy of the Lord and say this adharma only by Krishna's mercy can actually go away. Right? So he prayed to the Lord and said, oh Lord, you actually show your mercy. You establish dharma. Right? He particularly said, dharmam patum, you protect dharma. You arhati, you kindly protect the religion of all, for all goodness. Right? So in this, right, so Marichi actually, he said this and he stopped Brahmaji from doing it, but it was actually beyond his scope. You know, he did it, but he knew that this is not working, right? So very nice point here, right? See, we may, okay, some senior Vaishnava did something, right? And if we are in a position, we may go and say in a very respectful way, that, how can you do so and so? But that path has also to be connected to where we are going in front of the Lord and praying for that person. Right? To the extent we may be eager to find faults with someone, to that extent we should be eager to pray for their welfare. Because finally, it's the prayers that is actually going to work. Because when someone is overcome with lust, at that time your intelligence is not very strong. So yes, it is required, to give those instructions, but we know that beyond that, it is going to be the mercy of the Lord that is going to work, right? So pray for the well-being of the person as much as we want to correct that person, and this shows that we really care for that person. Right? We really care for them. May Lord protect dharma. That is the point. Right? Okay. So yeah, just to put this in one sentence, pray as sincerely as we are eager to correct someone's faults. Right? Because it's, tendency of fault finding is so strong. Anywhere we see and immediately it's like, oh, how can you do this? How can you do this? But we should actually always connect that with a prayer to the Lord. Right? Okay. Now, Prabhupada in the purport, he says, Brahma could not be dissuaded from determination in spite of Marichi's and the son's appeal. Therefore, they began to pray. They said, like, okay, we have done our part, but beyond this, it has to be only Krishna's mercy. So they accepted that part, and they actually. So, even that point that, we may, okay, do our role, but we should know that we have our limitations. We have a limitation. Marichi and sons, they accepted. It's not working. Let's pray to the Lord, right? So they turn to the Lord. And only by the grace of the Lord can one be protected from the allurement of lusty desire. And third point, Prabhupada says, Lord gives protection to devotees always engaged in transcendental loving service. By causeless mercy, he forgives accidental fall down. Right? Which is a verse in Bhagavad Gita that talks about this.
Apichet Sutaracharo.
Yes, 9:30, right? Apichet Susacharu. That one who is actually engaged in devotional service, one who's fixed in his devotional service. For him, if there is a accidental, if you see that purport, is very nice purport. Apichet Susacharu was like, I strongly recommend read that purport again, where Prabhupada actually said, if it is an accidental mistake, then Lord actually forgives. Right? The next verse he says immediately, Sadhur eva samantavya. You should consider him a sadhu. Why? Because he's fixed in his determination to perform devotion service. He is chanting his rounds, he's going out doing his seva, but accidentally he made a mistake. It was not a premeditated mistake that he didn't think about it so much and then, okay, I'm going to do this. It just happened because of the circumstance. Right? So that mistake, the Lord actually forgives, and he says we should look at that person still as a sadhu. But if it's something, a mistake that's happened again and again, then we may actually, if we are in a position, we may say something, or if not, we just maintain, we pray to the Lord, and we maintain our distance from that person. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so let's do the next verse. 33.
Saitam. Yes.
Sorry, Mataji, to interrupt you. So, Prabhuji, you are saying that if the mistake is done by an accident, God will protect them. But if it is a repeated recurrence, then they need to be punished. That's what it is, right?
See, the point that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita is if accidentally the mistake is done, right?
Right.
Accidentally in the sense that, like the Maya is so strong. So certainly, like, there may be some circumstance we weren't planning, but we just are in that circumstance, and then our weakness, which we are always controlling, somehow that weakness, we fall to our weakness, and then something happens, right? But what is the mood of that person? Is he still continuing his devotional service? He's still sincere in sadhana. He's chanting 16 rounds every day. He's actually, doing seva and so on. And so circumstantially something happened. Then Krishna is saying that person should still be seen as a sadhu. He should still be seen as a sadhu. And Krishna says, I'll forgive that mistake because it was accidental and he's fixed in his determination to continue devotional service. So if it's premeditated and the person is not doing his sadhana and just like, he is again and again doing that, then we have to maintain our distance. We may not develop an ill attitude towards him, a negative feeling towards him, maintain our distance. Just like a contagious disease, you won't think bad about that person. It's like, okay, he got affected by the disease. I have to maintain my distance so that I don't get affected.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Did Brahma not listen to the instruction of his sons and kept repeating the mistake? Is that why they had to go and pray to the Lord, right?
Say that again. Sorry, I didn't follow that.
Maji was in the previous verse. It said the sons were giving instructions and Brahma was not listening to it, and that is why they had to go and pray to the Lord. That means he was not correcting himself, right? Is that considered not accidental?
So
It means that
yeah.
happened only once, right?
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, it happened only once. This episode happened only once, and that too we are saying not in this day of Brahma, but someday when the Chatushlika. It happened only once. But lust is so powerful that in spite of receiving the instructions, he couldn't correct himself. Like he couldn't correct himself in the sense that there was an act there. See, the act was not there. It wasn't a Brahma actually united. But it was a mentality that was a problem. Right? And he couldn't give up that mentality of uniting with his daughter. Right? And then Marichi and sons saw that he's not able to give up that lusty feeling and then say, oh, only Krishna can help. And they pray to Krishna, Krishna, please protect Dharma. You are the one, you can protect Dharma. And then that helped. That helped Brahmaji.
Does it mean that they are able to read the mind, Prabhuji?
I mean, they could see the mentality of Brahma for sure. That Brahma was still attracted to his daughter. He didn't give up that lusty feeling. That's the point. And we'll see in the next verse what happens. And then from that, it's clear that how Brahma actually gave up, corrected his mistake. Okay.
Right, Prabhuji, but
Can we
can
do?
they read their mind? Like the Kumaras or his sons can read Brahma's thoughts and mind? That's the question, I think. That's my question also.
So
The
Marichi
Kumar,
and sons,
that's just, there is no act, but just a thought, right? So can they read like what's happening in others' mind, like Brahmaji's mind? Is that happen?
I mean, their Marichi and the sages are certainly very powerful, and they can see the mentality of a particular person. I won't say like reading the mind of a person, but like if someone is very powerful, then by someone's nature, you can just see that, oh, he's attracted to it's not like you may just be able to say, oh, that person is looking at someone in so and so way. That already tells me that his vision is not right.
Right.
So it could just be that. So can we do one more verse and then we'll summarize this section and see.
Thank you.
Yeah, because that will complete this section 33.
Saitam grinata putran puro drishtva prajapatin prajapati patistanvam tat yaja vriditastada tam disho jagrupur goram niharam yad vidustamaha.
Hare Krishna. The father of all Prajapatis, Brahma, thus seeing all his Prajapati sons speaking in that way, became very much ashamed and at once gave up the body he had accepted. Later, that body appeared in all directions as the dangerous fog in darkness.
So we see what did Brahmaji do? So it says, Sa itam grinataha putran. So seeing that his sons were speaking in so and so way, his sons were speaking, Sa Brahma drishta, right? He saw all the Prajapati, all the progenitors of living entities, Prajapitaha, father of all Prajapatis, Tanvam Tat Yaja, and Vriditaha. So these two are actually important. Vriditaha means he became ashamed of his actions. Right? What did we say before? A mistake is not a mistake if someone is repentant. And here we see Brahma is actually ashamed. Oh, how could I do that? He's repenting. So that actually shows that Vriditaha, ashamed of his action. And what did he did? Did he take any action about it? Yes, he did. And what was the action? Tanvam Tatyaja. He quit his own body, right? Tada at that time. And then the body actually dissipated as Ghoram Niharam, dangerous fog, Tamaha, in all directions. So Brahma has taken the act to actually correct himself. He is ashamed and he did the act to correct himself. Right? So Prabhupada and purport says this: best way to compensate one's sinful act is to give up one's body at once. And Brahma is showing this by a personal example. How will you explain this to someone? I mean, like someone can, it is common in our society. And people like, I want to prove a point. And they'll just say, okay, Prabhupada in so and so purport, this one sentence, and they'll say, see, Prabhupada says this. And practically for us, someone may read, best way to compensate one's sinful act is to give up one's body, commit suicide. But is that what Prabhupada is instructing all of us? No. So how would you explain this to someone? How would you explain this purport? Like, let's say you're asked to give Srimad Bhagavatam class in the temple, right? And you have come to this verse and says, okay, this verse, you have to speak on this verse. How would you explain this point?
Here, I think just giving up that mentality, not literally giving up the body, right, Prabhu?
So that is what happened. But here, what does Prabhupada say? The best way to compensate one's sinful act is to give up one's body at once. And Brahma, the leader of all living things, showed this by his personal example. First sentence. And further, if you read, Brahma had a fabulous duration of life, but he was obliged to give up his body due to his grievous sin, even though he had merely contemplated it in his mind without having actually done it. So if you see the first paragraph, I mean, that's what happened. That's what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and all are explaining. But the first paragraph here, you're giving the class, you're reading Prabhupada's purport, and Prabhupada is clearly saying that if you commit a sin, best way, commit suicide. How will you explain that?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I feel that in present circumstances, we should discuss with our elders, our spiritual master, what should I do? Because I think Prabhupada, one of the disciples, actually did that. He gave up his body and Prabhupada cried.
Yeah, very nice point. That point is, see, everything that we see that Prabhupada has said, we have to understand in terms of circumstances. There is a time, place, circumstance for everything. Right? Hence, to actually take Prabhupada said this just out of context, not seeing the context and just saying, oh, Prabhupada said this, hence this. You have to understand under what context did Prabhupada actually say that. You know, because we also see like Prabhupada has given different instructions to different devotees. Right? There's this famous story about like Prabhupada gets sannyas to two of his disciples. Right? To one of them, he actually said, now you stay here, you manage this center. Other one, he said, you don't stay in any place. You have to travel all around the world. Totally opposite instruction. Right? And then the sannyasis, if they come together and they start fighting, oh, Prabhupada said this, Prabhupada said this. No, it was to that person. This was the instruction. So it's very important to see time, place, circumstance for everything that Prabhupada says. That's the first point that we can actually use to explain this. And then the second point is what Sri Rani Mataji is saying, that in this case, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that when it actually means that he gave up his body, that means he gave up his subtle body, his disposition towards it. He did not give up his gross body. And that is actually, is that true for us? Can we take it in that way? Yes, certainly we can take it in that way. We made a mistake. Now we are ashamed of it. We have repented for it. And then this thought, I will never bring this back in my mind. That means what? You're giving up that disposition. You're just giving up that subtle body that you don't want to think of it again. And you are like so repentant that even a thought, even slightly comes, I'm just not going to address it. I'm sure many times we have, at least I have this, some dirty thought, something comes in my mind. And immediately say, no, no, stop. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Like, you chant the holy name, bring your mind back to Krishna, and like, okay, Krishna, please help, please help. My mind is still attracted to nonsense. So that is basically you're giving up that disposition. So that's what Brahma did. He gave up his subtle body. So we have to see, one is time, place, circumstance. Second is how to practically apply that instruction is by giving up that mentality, that subtle body. So Brahma gave up his subtle body, and that actually came in the form of darkness or fog. So Prabhupada said in the purport, the feature of ignorance is darkness or fog. Okay? So darkness of fog still covers the whole universe, and the sun is the only counteracting principle. One who takes shelter of the Lord, the perpetual light, has no fear of being annihilated in the darkness of fog or ignorance. So Prabhupada very nicely said that yes, fog is there everywhere, darkness is there everywhere in this material world. But when these thoughts come, immediately turn to the sun. That means turn to Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna. Really focus. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Sometimes we use Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as a weapon to actually smash our dirty thoughts or negative thoughts. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So you chant loudly, then the thoughts are put aside. Right? Okay. Okay. Okay, so Vishwanath Chakravarti, how could further he is making this point? He's quoting from Canto 10, Chapter 33, Text 29. He says, the status of powerful controllers is not harmed by any apparently audacious transgression of morality, we may see in them, for they are just like fire, which devours everything fed into it and remains unpolluted. So making that such great personality, such powerful controller, they're just like fire. You put anything in fire, it gets burned. Right? So hence they are not affected. And to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is quoting this to make the point, actually, we should not think that Brahma is now contaminated. He's such a powerful personality that he's not contaminated by this. And this is further elaborated in text number 34, the next verse. Okay. Okay. So this is 4D. Right. So 3D we completed last time. This is 4D and very practical. And we have seen in our society that even great leaders, they have Maya does not leave anyone, right? So how do we deal with this? What is our mentality? And so everything is given here, right? So this chapter is so practical, particularly like just in ISKCON society, services, challenges in services, leaders, everything is so wonderful. Okay, so let's just take a quick any comments, questions, realizations quickly on this. So, and then after that, the next section is actually something we'll go a little faster. We can follow Subodhini, where it will be a list of items that Brahmaji actually creates. He creates for the Dharma, the 4 Vedas, then the 5th Veda, then Upanishads, Upavedas, then 4 Brahmachari, 4 Grahastha, 4 types of Vanapasta, 4 types of Sannyasi. So it's like a whole list that Brahmaji is actually creating. Right? So we'll go a little fast in that section. But this section was very important to discuss. Okay. So let's see any comments, questions, realization. I see 2 hands up. Go ahead. Vrindavan will say nothing.
Prabhuji, so Brahmaji, did he actually committed suicide or he just gave up his subtle body?
He gave up his subtle body.
So
Yeah.
not physical body.
Not physical body.
Okay. And Prabhuji, I really like the point that Lord always give protection to devotees who are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Lord's protection and love is always there. Even if we make mistakes, even if somebody is making repeated mistakes, still Lord will give the punishment in such a way that will eventually benefit the devotee.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And one crucial point is, our vows we should never leave. At 16 rounds, 16 rounds. Whatever happens, I am going to continue chanting 16 rounds. Yeah, thank you. Okay, yeah, Arundhati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So he gave up his subtle body. Then that means like he went back to Godhead, because when subtle body is dissolved, then there is no
No,
other.
but he got another subtle body. The subtle body was replaced by another material subtle body. So it's not that. So see, what is subtle body? It's still material elements. It's just subtle material elements, right? So the subtle material elements were given away, and then he got another set of subtle material elements. Like just like we die, we leave our body, we get another material body. So similarly for Brahmaji, this death was giving up the subtle body and got another subtle body. Right? For us, when we actually give up our subtle body, actually what happens as we are progressing in bhakti is we are spiritualizing our subtle body. So dissolving the
Right.
subtle body so that
Right.
true spiritual nature comes. For Brahmaji's case, it wasn't that. It was out of repentance. He gave up the subtle and he got another subtle body.
Right, Prabhuji, that's where I'm confused. Like, so if we give up the material body before our lifetime, that is not correct, right? The soul still remains without body. That's one point. So other point is, let's say if we give up the subtle body, my understanding is the whole idea is to dissolve our subtle body, right? Like by doing the devotional service, like
Yeah.
the subtle body should be dissolved.
Right.
Then only we'll cross the Viraja river. With subtle body, we can't even go to the spiritual world. So then
Yes.
only we'll take a dip in the Viraja. I mean, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm confused. Like either way, it's
Yeah. So what Brahmaji did, we cannot do. We will never go through a stage where we are actually giving up a subtle body and accepting another subtle body. Brahmaji is, he is Swayambhu, right? He is directly manifested from Vishnu himself. So
Yes,
Vishnu,
Aja. Yeah.
this entire episode, he just gave him another subtle body when Brahmaji left. So it's not like we will go through this. We cannot, as such, change our subtle body like that. But Brahmaji being the Swayambhu, he could actually do that.
By the mercy of Lord
By the
Supreme.
mercy. Yeah. Only. So again, like, see, how did this whole happen? Only when Marichi actually prayed to the Supreme. Tasmo Namo Bhagavate. Tasmai Namo Bhagavate. When they prayed to the Lord, then the Lord actually made this possible. Otherwise, without the Lord's mercy, it's not possible.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Divinity, Mata.
So, Prabhu, we are seeing the qualities of like greed, anger, lust. All these things are already, at this point. So, are they created by? How are they created? Like,
So,
Brahmaji?
yeah, so last time we discussed like the first section. What did Brahmaji first create? The 5 kinds of ignorance, right? So if you see in the first, I think you were not there last time, but in text number 2 of this chapter, first what Brahma creates, he creates 5 kinds of ignorance. Tamaha, Moha, Mahamoha, Tamishram, and the Tamishram. Right? So we discussed this, that this is where all the concepts of greed, anger, lust, everything comes, like creation is happening there.
So I was just wondering, to say on this, like, in the spiritual world also we do have subtle body. There is mind, there is intelligence, there is perfect ego, right? We don't really dissolve it, like as we said, purified senses. Similarly, purified mind, purified intelligence,
We
purified ego.
dissolve our material subtle body.
Yes.
Dissolve our material subtle body. Yes.
But that is in the process we are doing, right, Prabhu, during our devotion service.
We are already
Even
doing that. Yes.
yes, so even when we are like naive or neophytes, and somehow at the end of the practice, some devotees become advanced devotees, and that time they're not really having the subtle body that they were when they were born, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
They have also kind of like
Yeah.
did what Brahmaji did, you know?
Yeah. But they're not getting another material subtle body. I mean, we are purifying, but again, if we actually start doing negative things, then again, we are kind of creating those material subtle impressions. But as we are progressing in bhakti, yes, we are kind of dissolving the material subtle body, like how Prabhupada gives the example often of iron rod and fire. It becomes fire. So similarly, us in contact with the spiritual holy name, with the hearing Hare Krishna, we are spiritualizing. We are making our body both gross and subtle as fire, as spiritual. Right. So that's why for such elevated personalities, like, my mind is like, we just think of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. One way we say, like, it's their body is spiritual, and hence that is samadhi. We don't actually as such burn their body. It is their body is completely spiritualized. There is no question of material there. The subtle and gross body is completely spiritual. So hence their vapu is as worshipable. And so we have samadhi, we go to samadhi, and through the samadhi, we can still connect to such personalities. Spiritual. Like how Bhakti Saraswati Thakur actually makes this point. He says, Chitta Rakta. By the way, Chitta Rakta, that means spiritual blood. And he actually says, Vaisheshika Prabhu often quotes this. When we go out, we preach the message of Krishna consciousness, we take that effort, then we are getting Chitta Rakta, we are getting spiritual blood. That means we are actually spiritualizing, or even gross body is spiritualizing by taking that effort. Okay.
In that context, I would say like the devotees are much more fortunate and glorious, because like just see, we are purifying, we are in the same subtle form, okay, it's getting purified, but Brahmaji again got another material only.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
He did not really get a spiritual awakening, kind
Yes.
of.
Yes, that's true. Because he had his own duty to do, right? And we'll see further also how Brahma
Definitely.
accepts a body in which sex is not forbidden.
Okay.
It's interesting. It'll come later. Thank you. Yeah, Vamshi, go ahead, bro. Let's take one last and we'll stop.
Yeah, Prabhuji, like in the 5D's distraction, I understand, like you got diverted, and deficiency. How can I?
It's yet to come, Prabhu.
Oh, you took. Thank you. Hare
The
Krishna.
last one we'll read in this chapter, deficiency. Okay, so just a quick reminder, actually the breakfast time was 8:11. So I hope everyone has observed your... Oh, no, 8:14. Oh, everyone has just broken their fast, so just a quick reminder. Okay, okay. Should we continue? Or you need a break?
Big break.
Okay, please speak up.
Quick.
Let's take a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, let's take 5 minutes break. Let's come back. Okay, okay. So thank you so much. 8:20. Let's continue. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhu, are you there?
Yes, Swati. Yeah.
Prabhu, one thing I wanted to ask is, when you said that, the Brahmaji first created all the, like all the defects. So, how we read in previous chapters that he was not getting affected with something he created, like how Krishna was not, then we had the spider web, when, Brahmaji was not getting caught in the his own web. Remember when we were reading
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah. The Narad Muni speaking to Brahmaji? Yes.
So, but then how is that Brahmaji himself created these defects or ignorance, and then he fall off it?
So actually, like, like last class, we also discussed this point that how Brahmaji is still affected by the modes. Like even if you see the aspect of his creation, there is creation that Brahmaji is creating mode of ignorance, mode of passion, mode of goodness. Like Kardamuni, right? He is the one who is created in the mode of goodness. The 10 sons of Brahma, like except Narad Muni. So 9 sons of Brahma, they are created in mode of passion because their task is to procreate. And then we have ignorance, we have Rudra, right? So he is affected by the modes, and because he is affected by the modes, then there is a tendency of Brahmaji to also make a mistake. But again, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually elaborates that because Brahmaji has already prayed in the previous chapter and Krishna has assured that you will not fall down, hence the Brahma Vimohan Leela cannot be considered as Brahmaji's fall down. It is actually one way we can say an act
Pastime.
to increase Brahma's devotion to the Lord.
I think we did that, bro. Like why Arjuna's and Brahma's question was there in, why? Because to increase their knowledge about the
Increase
Lord.
their longing. Yeah, yeah, that's the point. And yeah, I mean, so the point that this walk episode, it did not happen in this day of Brahma, in this kalpa. So the day when Brahma woke up and maybe he did not pray in such a way and he did not reveal, he did not get all this,
Not good quality chanting.
He didn't chant good rounds in the morning, maybe. Okay, so just give me 2 minutes, I'll be back.
Yes.
Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Om Vishnu Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prach brahmacharine nirvishesha sunyavadi paschatyadeša dharine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. So please come back. Let's continue. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so everyone ready? Let's continue. We are now text number 34. So I was just during the break, Devanita and Leamati was making the point, making the point, and I was just thinking about this, that how, like, we said that this episode of Brahmaji's attraction to his daughter didn't happen in this kalpa, because in this kalpa, Brahmaji heard the Chatusloki Bhagavatam, and so it's not possible. It happens on. And she made the point that just like some days in the morning, we don't chant good rounds. I think it's so true. When we don't do our good rounds, then we are more vulnerable to the attacks of Maya. But if you are chanting good rounds, 16 rounds done in the morning, like really nicely, then we are protected by the shield of Srila Prabhupada's, protection, by the shield of the holy name. So we are all protected by Maya. So it's a very nice point to think about, how these 16 rounds are actually our protection shield, from the attacks of Maya. So, okay. So let's continue. Text number 34.
Kadachid dhyayata shrashtur veda asam chatur mukat katam shrakshyamyaham lokan samavetanyata pura. Prarthana Mataji.
Once upon a time, when Brahma was thinking of how to create the worlds, as in the past millennium, the four Vedas, which contains all varieties of knowledge, became manifested from his four mouths. Thank you.
Yeah. So basically here, it says Kadachit, once upon a time. Why once upon a time? All of a sudden, like he's talking of the Vak episode, and all of a sudden, like once upon a time, Kadachit. This actually, Vishwanath Chandra Thakur is explaining that Kadachit here is particularly used by Maitreya Muni to actually show the disconnect between the Vak episode and the current day of Brahma. That he wants to again emphasize that the Vak episode did not happen on this day of Brahma, right? So hence he says once upon a time, right? So once upon a time, kadachit, right? And then what was happening once upon a time? Dhyayata Shastur. Brahma was actually Dhyayata. He was contemplating. And what was he contemplating? Katham Shakshyami. How shall I create Aham Lokam, all these worlds? Samavetan Yatha Pura. Pura means as before, right? As before, how should I again create these worlds? And when he was thinking in that way, he was contemplating in that way, then it says Veda Asan Chatumukha. From the four mouths of Brahma, the Vedic literatures appear. Right? So, like last verse, we discussed this point, and Prabhupada elaborates on that in the purport. The fire can consume anything and everything without being contaminated. So, by Krishna's mercy, fire of Brahma's greatness consumed desire for sinful act of uh, by grace of the Lord, the fire of Brahma's greatness consumed his desire for the sinful act of sex with his daughter, right? So basically, Prabhupada is making the point that we should not think that Brahma is contaminated or he got attracted to his daughter. How can he create? No, no, immediately Maitreya Muni is bringing us back and saying, Kadachit, once upon a time, Brahma contemplated, and from his mouth, what came out? Not the desire to enjoy with his daughter. What came out? The Vedas came out from his mouth. So this actually proves that how Brahma is actually uncontaminated. The Vedas, yeah. And Prabhupada elaborates, the Vedas are the source of all knowledge. The first, it was revealed to Brahma by mercy of Krishna. Where do we read this? Which shloka tells us that the Vedas were revealed to Brahma?
Tene Brahma.
Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikave. Adikave, to Adikave, this Vedas were actually revealed. Right? Right. And then Prabhupada again makes a point in purport. He says, Brahma is engaged in devotional service, and the Lord is always ready to forgive his devotees by chance if they fall from the path. So again, Prabhupada is elaborating on this point, and he also quotes uh, this verse from 11.5.42, if you see in the purport, which actually says that those who are engaged 100% in the transcendental service of the Lord, if they make a mistake, the Lord situated in their heart excuses all kinds of sins committed by chance. Right. So again, the two key points is 100% engaged in transcendental loving service, and the mistake is done by chance. It is an accidental mistake. If that is done, then the Lord just excuses it. He says, it's okay, no problem, you continue. Right. See him as a sadhu, you continue. Right? But these 2 points, extremely important. One is 100% engaged in devotional service, and second is he is actually, the mistake is done by chance. Okay. So, right. Okay, so let's continue. Right. So here actually, Prabhupada in the last sentence of the purport, Brahma was saved by the mercy of the Lord with a little punishment. Right? But by the grace of the Lord, he did not lose his prestige as the great Brahma. Right? So basically, because Brahma had prayed before, right? So it was just a little punishment he got, but he did not lose his prestige. So this is also a very practical point for us. If you are engaged in devotion service, somehow or other connected to our 16 rounds, our sadhana, if you are doing, and if there is a mistake, then maybe a little punishment Krishna will give. But again, that will go away, and then your prestige is not lost. You can continue with your devotional service as before. Okay. Text number 34. So now, everyone has Subodhini. Anyone here who does not have Subodhini?
I don't have Prabhuji. Yeah. But
Yeah,
that's
okay.
okay. If there is an online link or something.
It's not online, but I'll share my screen. So you can see, so next verses 34 to 49. Everyone can see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, okay. So it is all this table. So we'll see 34 to 37, the four Vedas, and we'll see Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, and they all come from the four mouths of Brahma: Eastern, Southern, Western, and Northern mouth. Then Upavedas, again we see Eastern, Southern, Western, Northern, then Puranas, Itihasas, then the Karma Tantram, then four legs of Dharma. So now it's like a whole list. Almost up to the end of this chapter, we'll be seeing a list of items that Brahmaji creates. Okay. Okay, so let's continue with text number 35.
Chaturhotram karmatantram upavedanayai saha dharmasya padashchatvaras tathaivashrama Mohananda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Once upon a time, when Brahma was thinking of how to create the worlds.
Prabhu, next verse. We did 34. Right? 35 now.
Hare Krishna. The four kinds of paraphernalia for conducting the five sacrifice became manifest. The performer, the chanter, the offerer, the fire, and the action performed in terms of the supplementary Vedas. Also, the four principles of religiosity: truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, and the duties in the four social orders all became manifest. Hare Krishna.
So basically here we see four kinds of paraphernalia for conducting yajna. What was created? So this Vishwanath Chakri Thakur actually elaborates on this in his commentary. He says Chatur Hotram, right? Hotra referring to the yajna. It says there are four kinds: Hota, Udgata, Advarya, and Brahma. There are four, right? So these four were actually created by the four mouths of Brahma. So we have, okay, I'll just share my screen instead of me just speaking. Right, so if you see here, right, so we have Rig Veda. Rig Veda is giving what? Activities of Hota. That means the Shastra, chanting of the mantras, that is all in Rig Veda. And that came from the eastern mouth of Brahmaji. Yajur Veda, the activities of Advaryu, that means the sacrificial performance itself, that came from the southern. Samaveda, activities of Udgata, the western mouth. And Atharva Veda, they came from the northern mouth. So that has Prayashchittam, remedial measures. Right? Okay, so that's that. Okay, we're just going to go through this. Prabhupada and the purport, okay, sorry. So that's one. Then after that, he says, after those four items, then he says, the four principles of religion, right? We have heard this before. Where did we see the four legs of Dharma? Which section did you see the four legs of Dharma before?
First canto and Parikshit Maharaj.
Yes, right. Also, Parikshit Maharaj was like the episode of the bull and Dharma, right? So with truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanness. These are the four legs of Dharma. So these four became manifest. And the duties in the four social orders, they were also manifest, right? Okay. Then 36. So now we'll go a little fast, as I've said. Only if there's a point I have to explain, I will. But otherwise, we'll continue. 36.
Vidura Uvacha
Okay, go ahead.
Savai Vishvasrijamisho Vedadi Mukato Srijat Yadyad Venashija Devas Tanme Bruhita Podhanam. Lavanga Manjimat.
Hare Krishna Mataji. 36. Vidura said, O great sage, whose only wealth is penance, kindly explain to me how and with whose help Brahma established the Vedic knowledge which emanated from his mouth.
So again, Vidura, we know how he's so expert and so eager to ask questions. The speaker does not even finish a section and Vidura has more questions, right? So as soon as Maitreya Rishi has said that how the Vedas became manifest. Immediately, Vidura's question is, and he uses the word tapa dhana. Dhana means wealth. Tapaha means one who is the only one whose only wealth is penance. That's a nice name to give. Tapa Dhana Das. A servant of someone who is actually the great sage whose only wealth is penance, right? Tapa Dhana, right? Bhruvi, please explain to me what Sa Vai Vishwasrajam, right? Brahma, the creator of the universe, how Mukhata, from his mouth, how did this actually come out, right? How did this Vedas emanate? Okay, 37. Let's just do it with the English and I'll tell when we are going to Sanskrit. Continue. 37. Okay,
Yeah, yes.
can
Uh,
you please
Ma-
like keep up the flow because we get breaks then we get delayed for no reason. Okay?
My
So everyone can just
Maitreyi,
see who is before you on the list so we know like as soon as that person is done you're ready for the next person. Okay, go ahead, Kaushal.
sorry for that.
No.
Maitreyi Uvacha, translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maitreyi said, beginning from the front face of Brahma, gradually the four Vedas, Ruka, Yajur, Sam, and Atharva, became manifest. Thereafter, Vedic hymns, which had not been pronounced before priestly rituals, the subject matters of the recitation and transcendental activities were all established one after another. Hare Krishna.
So four Vedas came out. So we know the four, the Riks, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva. And how did they get manifested? It says from the front face of Brahma. So Brahma has four faces, right? Four faces he has, right? So from the front face, so from the eastern side, which came out Rigveda, then southern side, which came Yajur, western side Samaveda, then northern mouth came Atharvaveda. So four Vedas immediately. Then thereafter Vedic hymns which had not been pronounced before. Then here basically he is describing the creation of the four hotas. So we discussed this earlier, right? Four hotas are there. Which is the action of hota is Shastra, chanting of the mantras without intonation, that is the Rig Veda. So basically the chart, which I showed earlier, you can just follow. The action of Advayu is sacrificial performance, singing verses is Udgata, and then the Atharvaveda is the remedial measure or the Prayashitta. Okay, 38.
He also created the medical science, military art, musical art, and architectural science, all from the Vedas. They all emanated one after another, beginning from the front face.
Right. So again, when it says beginning from the first phase, means the eastern, southern, western, and northern. That's the flow we take, right? Going in that direction. So what was the first one? Eastern, what came out? Ayurveda, medical science. Then southern, Dhanurveda. Then musical art, Gandharva Veda. Then architectural science. That is Stapayatya Veda. Right. So all these came from the four mouths. And then Prabhupada is making the point in the purport that how Vedas contain perfect knowledge. Even architecture, how to build your house, turn to the Veda. You have a disease, turn to the Veda, Ayurveda. Everything is there in the Vedas, right? Okay, next. 39.
Then he created the fifth Veda, the Puranas and the histories from all his mouths, since he could see all the past, present, and future.
Hmm. So here it says Itihas Puranani. So he created the Itihas and the Puranas. And if you see in the Puranas, what is the Puranas telling? The Puranas is basically that, oh, so and so sage, actually he's sharing his story, and then he's sharing. So Puranas are different sages speaking. And hence it's actually said, because Brahma could actually see, darshana, he could see into the future. So he already said that, oh, this sage is going to have so and so, episode in his life. And based on that, he compiled the Puranas, right? Itihasas and Puranas. And so Prabhupada is actually making the point, right? He says, Puranas are the history of the universe, not only in 1 millennium, but in many kalpas, right? So often we make this point that sometimes we hear one pastime and one way it is explained in a certain way, and another section is explained in a different way. And we're like, how is this? Like, how can you reconcile both the explanation? And then what is the word we use? We say kalpa bheda. Kalpabheda, right? So it is different days of Brahma. One day it happened like this, another day it happened like this. but the essence is the same. But there may be differences in the details, right? So that is Kalpa Veda. So that's what Prabhupada is mentioning here. Right? Okay, 40.
At different varieties of fire sacrifices. Sorry, all the different varieties of fire sacrifices. Sodasi, Ukta, Purisi, Agni, Stoma, Aptor, Yama, Atrira, Atiratra, Vajpaya, and Goshava became manifested from the eastern mouth, Brahma.
Hmm. So even I don't know what is all these different fire sacrifices, but certainly in the Vedas they are explained. Like in Vedas Karma Kanda section, like okay, this you want, do this so and so fire sacrifice. So all those details are there. They all came from Brahma's mouth. Then next 41.
Hare Krishna, education, charity, penance, and truth are said to be the four legs of religion. And to learn this, there are four orders of life with different classifications of castes according to vocation. Brahma created all these in systematic order.
Right. So basically here it's saying that education, charity, penance, and truth are the four legs of religion. And if you see, we can relate this to the previous what we said about the four legs of religion as austerity, truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy. Right. So this is directly related one-to-one correspondence with these four things. Like we can say knowledge is equated to purity, charity equated to mercy. Right. So this one-to-one correspondence is there. So these are the four legs of religion. And then to actually learn this, there are four orders of life. Right? So Brahma created these in a systematic order. So Prabhupada in the purport, the nucleus of the four social orders: Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. And then further, then Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. They are all very systematically planned and created by Brahmaji in such a way that our goal of self-realization is actually attained. Right? Why are these four varnas and four ashramas? So that through this, we can actually come to the point of Krishna consciousness. That's the whole thing, the whole essence, right? And how is this? The proper expense. Like student life, what is one supposed to do? Not play video games. One is supposed to undergo the education, right? So first is education, then household life is meant for gratifying the senses, but Prabhupada says, provided it is performed with a charitable disposition of mind. Grahastha ashram is the only ashram that actually earns, and they are supposed to provide for the remaining ashrams. Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha, Sanyas is a grahastha who are supposed to provide. So yes, there is some leniency in grahastha ashram, but it should come with a charitable mood. Right? Then Vanaprastha is what? Retirement from household life. Right? It's meant for penance. And then sannyas is meant for just preaching Krishna consciousness all around the world. So this entire thing is designed in such a perfect way that a person will gradually come to the point of taking up Krishna consciousness. Further, next 42.
Then the thread ceremony for the twice born was inaugurated, as were the rules to be followed for at least 1 year after acceptance of the Vedas, rules for observing complete abstinence from sex, life, vocations in terms of Vedic injunctions, various professional duties in household life, and the method of maintaining a livelihood without anyone's cooperation by picking up rejected grains. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so this verse is talking of four types of brahmacharya. And the next verse, four types of grahastha, four types of vanaprastha, and four types of sannyasis, right? So what are the four kinds of brahmachari? So first one is actually Savitra. Savitra means who is celibate for 3 nights. Even if you're celibate for 3 nights, you're a brahmachari. Right? First kind of brahmachari. Second kind, that came from the eastern mount. Then Prajapatya. You're celibate for 1 year. For 1 year, no sex. That means you're a brahmachari. That came from southern. Then Brahmana. Celibacy until they have learned the Vedas. That is Brahmana. And Brihat. Celibacy until death. Right? So 4 kinds of brahmacharis. And next, 43. Oh, actually, in this, he also talks of 4 times of grahastha, right? So in this verse also, it says Varta, Sanchaya, Shalina, Silochana. So these are 4 kinds of grahasthas. One is Varta, where the occupations, he's engaged in occupations which are not forbidden, like agriculture. I'm just, if you follow Subodhini, I'm just reading from the list. And where does this list come from? Prabhupada is explaining, but he's put everything together. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is actually elaborating on those 4 points. Right? Second kind of grahastha is sanchaya, right? It's performing sacrifices. Salina, taking alms without begging. And then silochana, taking the fallen grains in the field. Right? So 4 kinds of grahasthas. Is there some explanation required, or are we okay? Or
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, which type of grihastha are we?
like in multiple choice you have, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then last one is none of the above. So actually, if you see,
Palina.
Fallen grains, Mataji? No.
No, taking alms without begging.
I mean, we are, if you're working for a job, Mataji, we are certainly begging. I mean, like you're going to the boss working, you're like, okay, please give me a paycheck. Like, so performing sacrifices is, we are doing our main sacrifice, which is actually Sankirtan Yagya, maybe that way.
There is
Occupation
another
not
option
forbidden,
like
that's also accepted. Occupation not forbidden. I don't know, that's also a little tricky, because sometimes, people ask this question that, I'm writing IT code, but my IT code is used for, let's say, Walmart or any of these, and they sell meat. So is it okay? Then that would come in actually one way occupation forbidden, right? You're actually supporting something which is, So in Kali Yuga, it's very difficult to identify all these. Vijay Radhika, something?
no, I said there could be another option, all of the above or something. So
Yeah. It's more of none of the above, right? Because in Kali Yuga, it's all mixed. Like, even like to identify whether you are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. I mean, it's like not easy. You'll have certain tendencies of Brahmana, certain tendencies of Shudra, and even those tendencies are actually contaminated, right? You're like, oh yeah, there are tendencies of a Kshatriya, but you'll have a whole list of but, right? There are Brahman tendencies, but there's a whole list. In Kali Yuga, everything's so mixed up, hodgepodge, right? Upside down. So
Prabhu, I've heard like Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj mentioning that in the whole day, one devotee goes through all the ashrama, in the morning he's a he's
Brahmana,
Brahmana, then a Kshatriya, then a Vaishya, and then a Shudra. Whole day switching.
switching between the modes. Yeah. I guess also, like, we relate that how Brahmana is mode of goodness. We are switching between those modes. So that's why it's, Kali Yuga is very mixed up. Okay, let's see one process. 43.
Hare Krishna. The 4 divisions of retired life are Vaikhanasas, Valakilas, Adambaras, and Phenabas. The 4 divisions of the renounced order are Lifas, Kutichakas, Bahudas, Hamdas, and Nishkriyas. All these were manifested from Brahma.
So Prabhupada makes a point in purport that Varnashram Dharma is not a new invention of modern age. It's not something that people have just created. It is there when, from the starting of the day of Brahma, this is there. And what does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Chaturvarna Maya Shrishtam. I have created these 4. So it is not some artificial thing that someone has created. It is always there. Like even Mother Urmila's new book, Career Dharma. She makes, like, they actually studied this point that why these 4 varnas and ashramas are described. And they actually said that irrespective of how the society is, whichever yuga you are, Satya Yuga, Kali Yuga, whatever yuga, these 4 varnas are always there. Right? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. They may manifest in different forms, but these 4 are always there. And they are, created by Krishna himself. Right? So what are Vanaprastha? He says Vaikanakas. They live only on wild grains. Then Vala Khilya. They give up accumulated grains on gaining new grains. Then Audambara lives of what he acquires by walking in the direction he sees on getting up in the morning. So interesting. Imagine that Vanaprastha, whichever direction he gets up, he just starts walking in that direction, and whatever he gets to eat, that's it. So once he wakes up facing south direction, he'll just go walk in that direction and get whatever food he gets. That is that class, right? And then Fenapa lives off grains of fruit that has naturally fallen to the ground. Then sannyasis, this we have heard, right? Kutichak, Bahudak, Parivrajakatarya, and Parmahams. So kind of similar. So you see, Kutichak, he focuses on karma in his own hermitage. Then so we say Bahudak, here it is Bha rejects action and focuses on Gyan. Then Hamsa, Paramahamsa, like Hamsa, is fixed in knowledge. And Nishkriya, he has already attained realization. So Prabhupada elaborates on this, right? No. Okay, that's Vishwanath Chakravarti. Okay, that's it. Okay, let's continue. This just going through a list. So 44.
Hare Krishna. The science of logical argument, the Vedic goals of life, and also law and order, moral codes, and the celebrated hymns, Bhu, Bhuva, and Swa, all became manifested from the mouths of Brahma, and the Pranava Omkara was manifested from his heart. Hare Krishna.
Hmm. So basically here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying the first item, logic, Anvikshikshi, Anvikshiki, Anvikshiki. He says that represents dharma, artha, kam, and moksha. Right? So that represents dharma, artha, kam, moksha. And then Vedic goes Trai, Varta, law and order, Danda, Nitihi. So Prabhupada also doesn't elaborate so much on the points. And he says the celebrated hymns. He said Om, Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha. Right? When we do yagya in the temple also, we say this, right? Om, Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha. So these became manifested. And where did Omkar become manifest? From the heart of Brahma. And Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha from the mouth of Brahma. And then so there are four, right? So Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, and a combination of these three was from the fourth mouth. And Om actually manifested from the heart. Next one.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Thereafter, the art of literary expression, unsync, was generated from the hairs on the body of the Almighty Prajapati. The principal Vedic hymn, Gayatri, was generated from the skin, Tristup from the flesh, Anustup from the veins, and Jagati from the bones of the Lord of the living entities.
Anyone knows where we have heard these words? Trishtup, Anushtup, Brihati. I think Arundhati Mataji knows.
They're meters.
Yeah, like when we learn different shlokas, then you see the shlokas, they are meters, and meters depending on the number of syllables in each. So in Bhagavad Gita, the common is Anustup, 32 syllables. 32, 8 in each line. Right? 8 in each line. So we have Bhagavad Gita, only like 2 meters are there commonly. Right? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. That's one. And then karpanya dosho pahata swabhava. So 2 meters. So where did all these meters come? Here it's coming from the mouth of Brahma. So Trishtup is 44 syllables. So the longer verses we see. Anushtup is 32. Then Jagati is even bigger than that, 48 syllables. Right? And then Ushnik is 28 syllables. That's shorter one. And then we see Gayatri also was manifested. Right? Brihati also we heard. That's also if you take the course on meters, the different meters and shloka, how to chant different. One is Brihati. Arundhati Mata, you studied all this, right? I thought you studied all these meters.
Prabhuji, I have no idea. I
Huh?
know the names, so that's all, but I don't know. Hare Krishna.
So these all are, came out from 48 syllables. So if you see in the table, you can see like each one is actually connected with the number of syllables, right? Ushnik 28, Trishtu 44, Gayatri 24, Jagati 48 syllables, Pankti 40 syllables, and Brihati 36 syllables. And all came from different parts of Brahma. Right? Okay.
Prabhuji, Bhagavad Gita shorter and the longer ones are?
Anushtup is a shorter one, and the longer one is is it Brihati? I'll have to check. Actually, I have a document I can share. I just have to check the document. I don't remember.
Thank you.
So Anushtup is the 8-syllable one. That is the standard one. Yada yada idhamasya, etc. Okay, next one. 46.
Hare Krishna. The art of writing verse, Pankti, became manifested from the bone marrow, and that of Bruhati, another type of verse, was generated from the life breath of the Lord of the living entities.
So we talked about this. Like Pankti is actually 40 syllables and Brihati is 36 syllables. Okay, next verse.
Brahma's soul was manifested as the touch alphabets, his body as the vowels, his senses as the sibilant alphabets, his strength as the intermediate alphabets, and essential activities as the 7 notes of music.
Okay, I'll just share my screen. This is interesting to see. So everyone, I'm sure everyone has learned this. Yeah, everyone has learned this. I, ru, la, I, o. Right? And then, so this is basically what we are speaking right here, right? So these are known as swara, right? These are known as swara. So these became manifested. And then, ka, kha, ga, gha, na, cha, cha, jha, jha, na, ta, tha, da, da, na, ta, tha, da, dha, na, pa, fa, ba, bha, ma, right? So all these are called sparshas, right? So we read the sparsha became manifested. Then the ya, ra, la, va, that is called antasta, right? And then sha, sa, ha. This is called usmana. And even in this, we see all these words, you can see in that Sanskrit, it says talavya, that is sha, murdhanya, that is sha, and dantya, that is sa, right? And then the saptaswara, that are sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa, right? So all that actually came from these mouths of Brahma. Okay. Okay, this is your Sanskrit class for today. Okay, so let's continue.
Sanskrit and Swara class.
So Prabhupada says all these sound vibrations are originally called Shabda Brahma or spiritual sound. So Prabhupada says all these are actually spiritual sound. Therefore, Brahma was created in the Mahakalpa as the incarnation of spirit. Okay, the Vedas are spiritual sound, and therefore there is no need of material interpretation for the sound vibration of Vedic literature. Very nice point. The Vedas are spiritual sound, right? Because it's manifested from Brahma. It just manifests from the mouth of Brahma. So don't give your material interpretations to that. Only a person who is actually spiritually advanced can actually explain these. Only a pure devotee finally can actually explain these Vedic mantras. Then next, 48.
Hare Krishna. Brahma is the personal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the source of transcendental sound and is therefore above the conception of manifested and unmanifested. Brahma is the complete form of the absolute truth and is invested with multifarious energies.
Right. So basically here, see why, so that completes up to 47 is the entire list. Now the stress is again given that don't think that Brahma got contaminated because of his desire of because of the Vak episode. Don't think. And here it is actually proved. Right? So Brahma has extraordinary powers because he is a manifestation of the Lord. And what is Brahma's body composed of? What is Brahma's body composed of? So here we see it says Brahma's body is composed of Shabda Brahma. His body itself is made of transcendental sound, right? So it says Shabda Brahma, Atmanaha, right? So his body is composed of Shabda Brahma. And the Supreme Lord appears as worshipable object in the form of Brahma, manifested as two forms. One is external sound, Vaikari, and the other is unmanifested sound, which is the Om. Right? So similarly, how the Lord is manifested as Brahman, the object of the impersonal Gyan, and the Bhagwan, the object of pure transcendental knowledge. Bhagwan is filled with so many different Shaktis. Right? So what is the whole essence of this? The Brahma is a personal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the source of all transcendental sound, right? Tene Brahma, Hridaya Adikave. So all this transcendental sound is coming from Brahma. So Brahma's body is made of the Shabda Brahma, is made of the Vedas. Therefore, he is above Atmanaha and Vyakta. He's above unmanifested and manifested sound, right? So Brahma is a complete form of the absolute truth, and he's invested with Nana Shakti, multifarious energies. So Prabhupada in the purport makes a point that the post of Brahma is the highest responsible post within the universe. Is the most perfect personality. Imagine, like Krishna his job is what? He has to fill in all the vacancy. And when there's a vacancy for Brahma, he has to find someone so qualified to actually take the position of Brahma. And Prabhupada makes a point in purport that sometimes there is no one qualified to take that position. Then Krishna himself comes and becomes Brahma. The Lord himself becomes Brahma because he doesn't find anyone qualified to actually take the position of Brahma. So Prabhupada concludes and says the transcendental value of Brahmaji is not to be minimized even though this Vak episode is described. Okay. 49.
Prarthana.
49. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Prabhuji. Thereafter, Brahma accepted another body in which sex life was not forbidden, and thus he engaged himself in the matter of further creation. Thank you.
So it's 2 lines says Tato Param Upadaya Sasargaya Manudari. So now, up to this point, Brahma created everything, and now he's accepting another body in which sex life is not forbidden, and thus he engaged in matter. Why did Brahma accept another body now? Because up to this point, he's created all these personalities, but still his mission of creating progeny was not happening. Then hence Brahma said, I have to actually procreate myself. And he accepted the body where he could actually, where sex is not forbidden. Imagine what Brahma has to go through, right? Up to this, all the effort, he's created so many things. But is he successfully created progeny? No. Right? And hence he is now trying, okay, let me give up this body, accept another body in which sex life is not forbidden, and then continue sasarga, matter of creation. Okay, 50.
Hare Krishna. O sons of Kuru, O sons of the Kuru, when Brahma saw that in spite of the presence of sages of great potency, there would be no sufficient increase in the population, he seriously began to consider how the population could be increased.
Right. So Brahmaji, like in spite of, he created the sages, right? The 9 sages, the Narad Muni himself, Rudra, all that creation and all the elements what we read. He did everything, but still no sufficient increase in population. So this is what? This is the 5th D, right? This is a 5D. In spite of everything, deficiency, right? Imagine like you are given a seva. You have done everything. You have prayed to the Lord. You have done everything. And there are challenges. You face the first challenge. What was the first challenge? Dissatisfaction. Second, disobedience. Third was what?
False ego?
No.
Disturbance.
Disturbance. Yes. Disturbance from, yeah. So disturbance from Rudra. Then fourth, distraction.
Distraction.
Now, 5th. In spite of all the 4, he still continues the seva, and now he's seeing that in spite of doing everything, deficiency, right? Sargam avishtratam, creation has not sufficiently increased. Therefore, what does he say? He said, Gyatva hridaya, knowing this in his heart, what did he do? Bhuya chintayam. Chintayam means, again, he started to meditate. He started to, he seriously began to consider how the population could be increased. Okay, so now what happened? So this is the last section of this verse, of this chapter. Okay, again, these verses are very straightforward, not much elaboration. Prabhupada also doesn't give purports for this. Okay, so please continue.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Brahma thought to himself, alas, it is wonderful that in spite of my being scattered all over, there is still insufficient population throughout the universe. There is no other cause for this misfortune but destiny. Hare
Hmm.
Krishna.
This is a very, very practical point here. Aho adbhutam. It is so wonderful that vyapristasya. Vyapristasya means busy. Nityada, always, right? And then edante prajaha, right? I actually did my best. So can you think of a seva that you have done in your life where you actually did the seva, there were challenges, but still you continued, you persisted, you actually went through, faced everything, and then finally, even after doing everything, it was not working. Let's say like you have a project of like, okay, we should build a new temple or any other devotional project you can take. And you have tried everything. You have went out, raised money, you got things, and fought with the county, got all the permits, everything, and still it's not working. Then what do? You get discouraged, you get disappointed,
Pray.
you pray. So here it's interesting what Brahmaji last word would say. Daivam atra vikhatakam. He concluded that up to this point, whatever I have done, it is not actually, there's no other cause beyond uh, that the creation did not take place, the progeny has not taken place other than Daivam. Daivam means a destiny, right? So at some point, we are trying so much to do a particular thing. But if it's not working it, at some point we have to say, I tried my best. And Brahma, that's what's saying here. Vyapritasya. I was busy, Nityada. Whole day and night I was working for this project. Still not successful. That means Krishna has some other plan. So not only we have to be attached to our service in the sense that we want to do completely give 100% to a service, but also we should know at what point we should say, okay, I have done everything. This is maybe not Krishna's plan. So even having that spirit of detachment to our service is also important. Because Krishna may put us in a position where we are doing something for our purification, and there's always benefit in doing devotional service. But Krishna may have a bigger plan. So we should be in a position to accept that yes, Daiva, that is a higher cause. Maybe that Krishna has a different plan. So when do you decide that, to stop, to actually say, okay, I have tried my best, but it's not working out? Or when do you actually keep persisting and keep going on and on? How do you know this?
Shri Krishna is Chitta Guru, huh? He will guide us. You know it
Yeah,
from
that's
your
a good
heart.
point. Krishna is Chaitanya Guru. But sometimes practically it happens that so like, okay, I've tried this so much, it's not working out. What should I do? What should I do? Should I continue? Should I keep trying? Does Krishna want me to keep putting effort into this project, or should I actually do a different project? So certainly we have to pray to Krishna and say Krishna, and then certainly consult our Guru Maharaj, consult senior devotees. The more like sometimes it's good to speak like as guru and also our spiritual uncles, and we ask them that I've been doing this for so long, it's not working out. Should I actually change my seva right now, or should I persist and should I keep going on? So you should talk to people. That's why it's so important to have a whole network of our guru, our shiksha, diksha gurus, where we can actually take advice. Okay. So now what happens? So now should Brahma just say, okay, this Daiga, I shouldn't do anything? What does Brahma do next? 52?
Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. While he was thus absorbed in contemplation and was observing the supernatural power, two other forms were generated from his body. They are still celebrated as the body of Brahma. Hare Krishna.
So what happened? He was absorbed in contemplation. What should I do now? I tried my best, it did not work out. And then all of a sudden, Daivam. So previous verse also says Daivam. That means he left it like, oh, Krishna has some bigger plan. Something will happen. And here, by Daivam, he actually something happened. What happened? Kasya Rupam Adbhuta and Dveda, two forms appeared from Brahmaji. Right? Twofold forms became manifested, and Prabhupada explains. One with a mustache. It's interesting. They say mustache, like even at the time the mustache. Like, you imagine Swayambhu Manu, right? He actually appeared with a mustache. So interesting. And the other one with breasts, right? So one with beard and one with breasts. So two forms became manifested, and Abhichakshit, and they are called or celebrated as Kayam. Kayam means the body of Brahma, right? Ka referring to, we say Ka Isha, right? Ka referring to Brahmaji. So Kayam means they actually appeared from Ka, which is Brahma, right? So can they be considered as a brother and sister? No, they cannot be. Because no one can explain the source of the manifestation. Therefore, they are called Kayam. Hence, we cannot consider as son and daughter. Because they're son and daughter, they become brother and sister. Then how will they create progeny? Right? So, though they get manifested from Brahma's body, they will actually create progeny. And who did this? Did Brahma actually create these two personalities? No. He was just saying, I did my best. I was sincere in my service. Last word, what he said, I was busily engaged. I tried my best. Do your best, leave the rest to Krishna. Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says. Do your best, leave the rest to Krishna. So he did his best, and then Krishna himself is actually doing this, creating these two bodies from the personality Brahmaji. Okay, and who are these two bodies? 53.
Manu and Shatrupa.
No, 53.
The two newly separated bodies united together in a sexual relationship.
Okay, so they engage in sex. So they're not, we cannot consider them as son and daughter, right? They actually united in Mithunam. Mithunam means sexual relationship. And who are they? 54.
One of them, the one who had the male form, became known as the Manu named Swayambhuva, and the woman became known as Shatarupa, the queen of the great soul Manu.
Right, so if you see the words, it says, Ye Puman, that male, Abhuta, became Manu. So that male personality became Manu, who is the father of mankind, and called Swayambhuva. Right, so Swayambhuva Manu. And then Striya, that woman, who is Mahishi of Mahatmana. Mahishi referring to the queen. Queen of Mahatmana, queen of the great soul. Who is that? Shatarupa. Right? So Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa became manifested. 55.
Thereafter, by sex indulgence, they gradually increased generations of population one after another.
56.
O son of Bharata, in due course of time, he Manu begot in Satarupa 5 children, 2 sons, Priyavrata, Uttanapada, and 3 daughters, Kuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti.
Right. So we have to remember these. Everyone knows, right? These 5 names? The children of Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa. Everyone knows this? Right? Okay. So it is important to remember 2 sons, Priyavrata, Uttanapad. Who is the son of Uttanapad?
Dhruv Maharaj.
Right? And then Priyavrata Maharaj will read in the 5th canto. Right? 5th canto is Priyavrata Maharaj. Uttanapad, 4th canto. And then the 3 daughters, Akuti, Devahuti, Prasuti. So now if you see the flow of the Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, which is the biggest section of the 3rd canto?
Brahmaji's assembly and the
No,
teachings
like
of
further, if you see in the number of chapters, which is that one pastime which is the largest pastime in the 3rd canto?
Till their instructions.
Yeah, Kardamuni, Devahuti, and their son Kapiladev. That is actually towards the end of the entire part, towards the end of 3rd canto is all about that, right? So that is one daughter, the eldest one, Devahuti. Now in the 4th canto, we'll start off with Akuti, right? And then we'll read about Prasuti, right? So Akuti, Prasuti. So in that, which pastime comes in Akuti, Prasuti? Anyone knows?
Daksha,
Daksha story, right? Lord
Sati.
Shiva and Daksha, right? So Lord Shiva and Daksha. So they get married to Prasuti, right? Prasuti or Akuti?
Prasuti.
Prasuti, yeah. Okay, so Daksha, Lord Shiva gets married to Prasuti. So that's second. And then we read about Akuti is briefly there. Akuti gets married to Daksha, right? No, Akuti gets married to
Ruchi.
Ruchi, yeah, Ruchi, thank you, yeah, Ruchi. And then we read about Uttanapad, fourth canto. And then Dhruva Maharaj, then Dhruva Maharaj's lineage, that continues. And that whole fourth canto is all about Uttanapad's lineage. But at a particular point, it stops. Then it stops, then it's like, okay, who is left to continue? Then they call Priyavrat Maharaj. So from now until the middle of the fifth canto, we are just going to read about these five personalities. Akuti, Devuti, Prasuti, Uttanapad, and Priyavrat Maharaj. So it's all about like a family. Like you may watch some, in some movies. It's all about this family line. So similarly now, it is all about this family. Family starting from Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa. Okay, last verse.
The father Manu handed over his first daughter Akuti to the sage Ruchi, the middle daughter Devuti to the sage Kardamna, and the youngest Prasuti to Daksha. From them, all the world filled with population.
It's right here what I was saying. So Akuti gets married to Ruchi, then Devuti to Kardamuni. So that's what we are going to read in third canto further. And Prasuti to Daksha. And that's where the Daksha and Lord Shiva pastime will come. Right? And from them, all the world became filled with population. So Prabhupada makes a point in purport that Swayambhuva Manu is actually the father of all living entities. Hence, Brahma is known as grandfather. Right? Swayambhuva Manu is the father of all living entities, and who's his father? Brahmaji. He becomes grandfather. And then who is Krishna then? Great grandfather. So Prapitamaha. So Prabhupada quotes a verse where it actually says, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am the great grandfather of everyone. Prapitamaha. Right? So 11th chapter. Okay, so that completes this chapter. Okay. So 9:17. Okay, everyone. Any comments, realizations, questions?
Prabhu, can we say that Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa are actually like Krishna's creation? Like, God, Lord's creation? Because it is
Yeah.
Daivim, right?
Yeah. It's actually like finally like point is Brahma tried his best, it did not work out. Then Krishna had to come and do his part. But he used Brahma as the instrument. Right? Because they came through a body of Brahma. So they not come directly from Vishnu, Garbhadaksha Vishnu. They still come through Brahma. So credit goes to Brahma, but certainly it is Vishnu who actually did it. And practically for us also, we may do so much seva, but finally we say, like in a book distribution, we set a goal. And then we try our best. And this is like practically like so many times we've experienced this. We set a goal. And then it's like we come close to the day and it's like, it's not happening. Like, even this time we did Chaitanya Charitamrita, 51 sets. And like, how is it possible? And we were trying our best, and then we came to like maybe like 19 sets, I remember, like 2 weeks before God Purnima. Like, how is it possible? 31 sets in 2 weekends? Impossible. Impossible. And then finally, Krishna has to come and do the part. It's like, come on, we are trying our best, but Krishna, please help, please help. And then I think Vamshi Kumar Prabhu, Vrindavan Vilas Mata, you can say. I think 1 weekend we distributed how many sets was that?
I think 26, Prabhu, if I remember correctly.
26. 26 sets in 1 weekend. That's like our last time our record itself was 21. Now in 1 weekend, 26 sets. And how did it happen? It's only Krishna. But somehow he uses us as instruments. So Krishna actually comes and does it. So thank you. Okay. So it's 9:19. Can we do like at least 5 verses from the next chapter? Everyone? Everyone is like hoping that, okay, let's take a break and end the class early. But can we continue? It's okay. Everyone? Yes. Okay. Let's do. Okay. Next is interesting. So we are going to read about the first of the Dashavatars, appearance of Lord Varahadev in this. Right? It's very nice chapter, very interesting. So when the section is over, then what would we expect? Knowing Vidura now, what are we going to expect? Ask more questions, right? That's what Vidura does. He's just like waiting to ask questions. It's like he's hearing and immediately a question, right? And that's also like, I was thinking about this point, like, actually I heard a point in the class and I was thinking about that when we are hearing any lecture, how can we deeply absorb that lecture? How can we really be absorbed in the katha? Every moment asking the question, I'm hearing this point, how is this practical in my spiritual life? And if every moment we have that question while hearing the katha, we'll have other questions. Okay, you're saying this, but how is this practical for me? What does this change? Oh, how can I implement this? And the questions will keep coming. So Vidura was so inquisitive. He's like, okay, you said this, I want to hear more. I want to hear more. Please continue, right? So we'll start the first 5 verses, inquiries by Vidura, about whom he's going to ask? Our Swayambhuva Manu, right? Naturally. Right? So let's start. Text number 1 in Sanskrit.
Vishuka uvacha nishamya vacham vadato mune punyatamam nripa bhuya papracha ravyo vasudeva kadadita.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, after hearing all these most virtuous topics from the sage Maitreya, Vidura inquired further on the topics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which he adored here. Hare Krishna.
So here, Sukdev, so we went back, right? We went all the way back to Sukadev, not even Suta Goswami, went all the way back to Sukadev Goswami. So Sukadev Goswami is saying what? Nishamya, after hearing Vacha talks, Vadataha by Maitreya Muni. So after hearing these talks by Maitreya Muni, what is this? Punya Tamam, the most virtuous. Why do we hear this word Punya again? Hearing Krishna Katha is the most Punya activity that we can do.
Punya Karmana.
Punya Shravana Kirtana.
Shrunvatam Swakatha Krishna.
Yes. Srinvata Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtan. The most virtuous, pious activity one can do is to hear Krishna Katha. So here is saying that hearing these most virtuous topics from Maitreya Rishi, then, O king, who's the king here? Nripa, O king.
Maharaj Parikshit.
Parikshit, yeah, Parikshit. So the Goswami is speaking to Parikshit. Oh, Parikshit. Then Prapacha, Kauravya, the Kuru, from the Kuru dynasty, Vidura, he is actually Prapacha. He asked, and about Vasudev Katha. He's only interested in Vasudev Katha. That point has been mentioned earlier also. Only interested in Vasudev Katha. And Adritaha. This word Aditraha, Prabhupada explains in the purport, and also Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives other explanation. Aditaha is very significant. Why? Because it indicates that Vidura had a natural inclination for hearing Krishna Katha. So hence he was never satisfied, though continuing hearing this topic. So everyone remembers, we made this point earlier, that materialists, they try to gratify the senses. Are they satisfied? Not satisfied. We are hearing Krishna Katha. Are we satisfied? Not satisfied. What is the difference? What's the difference?
This,
Go ahead, Rafa.
I was going to say this is spiritual desire. So it's not satisfied. It's okay.
Okay. Okay.
We get pleasure, they get more distress.
Okay. Yeah. Very nice. We get pleasure, they get more distress.
Their consciousness.
Consciousness. Okay. See, one thing is in materialists, they are not satisfied and hence they want to change the activity. I got this model, I'm not satisfied, now I'll try another model. But spiritualists, we hear Krishna Katha and after that we are not, oh, Krishna Katha is boring. Now let me hear some other Katha. No, we keep hearing because we are not satisfied because we are getting so much pleasure out of it that we want to do that more and more and more. Materialists, they'll do something, little pleasure, change topic. Change this, right? That means that thing is not satisfying them. For us, it's satisfying us to such an extent that we want to keep doing the same thing again, right? So Vidura was not satisfied to hear, and he wanted to hear more and more and more. Right? So Adrita is also explained as we mentioned the point, natural inclination to hear Krishna Katha. Aditya Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, Vidura, having respect or attention for Maitreya Rishi, hence wanted to hear more. Right? Or another meaning, it's so amazing these meanings come. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, Adritaha means Vidura who was respected by Maitreya Rishi. Vidura who was respected. So both ways. So one meaning is Vidura having respect for Maitreya Rishi wanted to hear more. Second meaning of Adrita is that Vidura who was respected by Maitreya Rishi, he asked further questions. Okay. Okay. Text 2.
Viduruvacha Savai Swayambhuva Smarat Priyaputra Swayambhuvaha Pratilabhya Priyam Patnim Kim Chakara Tato Mune. Vamsiko Papu.
Mataji, I think Vrinda Vilasini Mataji did not read.
I read, Prabhuji. I read.
Vidura said, "O great sage, what did Swayambhu, the dear son of Brahma, do after obtaining his very loving wife?" Hare Krishna.
So Vidura is asking, like, okay, they came together. You said they united. They had the Mithuna. What did they do? Right? What did they do? What did Swayambhuva? Now, one interesting thing, if you see in the Sanskrit, see the word Vidura Uvacha, Savai Swayambhu. Right? So you see after on top of the A, there is a line. That is Swa, A, right? And then further we see Priya Putra Swayambhu. There is no A. So one is referring to Brahmaji, one is referring to the son of Brahma. Do we know any other example like this? Perfect example for this?
Vasudev and Vasudev.
Yes, Vasudev and Vasudev. Right? Vasudev referring to the father of Krishna and Vasudev referring to Krishna. So similarly here, Swayambhu, that is the son. Right? Swayambhu, that is Brahmaji. Right? So what did they do? Now next, text 3.
Charitam tasya rajarshir adi rajasya sattama bruhime shradadhanaya vishvakshena shrayo yaso.
Translation, O best of the virtuous, the original king of kings, Manu, was a great devotee of the personality of Godhead Hari, and thus it is worth hearing of his sublime character and activities. Please describe them. I'm very eager to hear.
Okay, so now if you see verse number 2, it says, what does Swayambhu Manu, the dear son of Brahma, do with his loving wife? If you just read this shloka, it is just like, some movie. Like this so-and-so person had this son, and then he got married to this wife. What did they do? Now, immediately Vidura is asking this question. So certainly it's not like some family, gossip or like, husband, wife came together. What did they do? So here he's actually clarifying why he's actually interested to hear about Swayambhuva Manu. So what are the qualities? 3 characters he actually says, right? Tasya Charitam, 3 characters. Charitam is a character. So Satama, oh most pious one, 3 characters. First is Raja Sheher. He is actually a saintly king. Second, Adi Rajasya. He is actually the original king. And third, the most important one is Vishwaksena Ashraya. Very nice word, right? Ashraya, taking shelter of Vishwaksena, one who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of God. Because Swayambhuva Manu is a devotee, he is a saintly king, he is the original king, and he has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, Bruhime, kindly speak to me about his charitra. What did they do? Hence, I'm interested to know. If he's not a devotee, would I be interested? No. Then I don't want to hear. It's not related to Krishna, don't speak. But because he's a devotee, I want to speak. So, right. So, and one key word here, what you see is Shraddha-dhanaya. What does Shraddha-dhanaya mean? Like proper in the word translation, it says one who's eager to receive. But Shraddha means what?
Shraddha is faith.
So what does it mean to hear with faith? Anyone can think, what does it mean to hear with faith? Because here Vidura is saying that, I'm very eager to hear with Shraddha I want to hear these topics.
Like with an open heart and like willing to accept the teachings.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. We are actually, with Shraddha means we have faith in these topics. And what level of Shraddha? If you see in Bhagavad Gita 9.3, Krishna says, Ashraddhadhana Purusha. So the ninth chapter is considered one way like the most essential chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And what is Krishna starting off by saying? Ashraddhadhana Purusha. That those who do not have faith in these topics, then aprapya mam nivartan. They will not obtain me. Even though they may hear, they will not. They will hear ninth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, still they will not become a devotee of Krishna. Right? And that purport Prabhupada starts off by saying, what is real Shraddha? श्रद्धा शब्दे विश्वास कोले शुद्ध निश्चय कृष्ण भक्ति कैले सर्व कर्म कृत होय. Shraddha means that kind of faith that just by hearing Krishna Katha, I can attain all perfection. My entire life is dependent on this Krishna Katha. This Krishna Katha is actually the way I'll get purified on of all anarthas, and the way bhakti utpatide, bhakti will get arisen in my heart. That level of faith. So Vidura, he's so interested because he knows this is the only solution in this age of Kali Yuga is to hear Krishna Katha. And with that faith he's hearing, right? So faith is also at different levels. One may just say, oh yes, this is Bhagavatam. Prabhupada said, hence I'm hearing. That's also faith. But real faith, as you progress, comes in, this is as important to me as breathing, oxygen, right? If you don't breathe, you die. So similarly, Harikatha is so important that I just want to always hear Krishna Katha. This is my life. This is my soul. That level of Shraddha. Right? 1 point there. Yes. Next verse. Next is a very nice verse. So we can, I think, verse for memorization also. Go ahead.
Shutasya pumsam shuchirashramasya nanvanjasa suribhir iditortha tad gunanu shravanam mukunda pada ravindam hridayeshu yesham. Persons who hear from a spiritual master with great labor and for a long time must hear from the mouths of pure devotees about the character and activities of pure devotees. Pure devotees always think within their hearts of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, who awards his devotees liberation.
Okay. So maybe this week, how is everyone's learning of Bhagavatam verse going on? Not so good. So let's do like this week. Can you memorize this shloka? Okay. So everyone, let's really try to memorize this one shloka this week. Shrutasya pumsam suchira shamasya. So brothers say Shrutasya, then the people who are hearing. So basically this verse is saying, what is the goal of those people who are hearing from their guru? What is the goal of us hearing from a guru? And then further he says, Suchira, for a very long time. Shamasya, laboring very hard. So we are taking all effort to do what? Shrutasya. So what is the goal? What is the artha of those people who are Shrutasya, Suchira, and Shamasya, who are hearing, but hearing for a long time with great labor? What is their goal? Then second line says, Nanu Anjasya is to certainly hear elaborately about what? Nanu Anjasya Suribhir Iditor Artha. So the Artha, the goal of hearing from a spiritual master is to come to the point of hearing about Suribhi. That means what? Suribhi is the one who is actually the characteristics of the pure devotee. So what is the verse saying? The goal of hearing Krishna Katha from a guru is to hear Vaishnav Katha. Is to hear about the characteristics of the devotee. And actually, that is more powerful than hearing about Krishna directly. Such a nice verse, no? Imagine, like, we always talk about Krishna Katha, but here he's saying, Vaishnava Katha is actually greater, more important than Krishna Katha. The goal of hearing Krishna Katha is to hear about Vaishnava Katha. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Katha or more Vaishnava Katha?
Vaishnava Katha.
Vaishnava Katha.
Vaishnava Katha.
Right?
Vaishnava Katha.
More about the devotees of the Lord. Like in the particular this point about Narsimha Leela is pointed out. If you see in the 7th canto, it's all about Prahlad Narsimha. And if you see in that entire section, almost the whole canto, mainly the focus is about Prahlad Maharaj. Only one chapter, Narsimha Dev comes, and then next chapter, again prayers of Prahlad Maharaj to Narsimha Dev. The entire focus is on the Bhakta, right? And that's why Srimad Bhagavatam is so relishable, because it is talking of the devotee's love for Krishna, right? And just by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhakti Utvate, how can Bhakti arise in the heart? Only from a Bhakta, right? And entire Srimad Bhagavatam is Bhakta speaking about Bhagwan. So by hearing about those Bhaktas, that Bhakti will arise in our heart, right? So here is saying, Shutasya Pumsam Suchira Shramasya. The goal of those who are hearing, engaged in the process of hearing for a long time, laboring very hard, is to certainly hear elaborately about the characteristics of the pure devotee, Surubhi. And then the line 3 and 4, it says, Tatta Guna Shavana Mukunda. So these devotees, what are they always doing? Tattat, always they are doing what? Padaravinda Hrideshu Yesham. They are actually always thinking of the transcendental qualities of Mukunda Padaravinda. They are actually always thinking about the transcendental qualities of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead who is in the heart of every living entity. Right? So when we hear about pure devotees, how do you define a pure devotee? One definition we can say, a pure devotee is always thinking, always absorbed in the lotus feet of Krishna, always. Right? So here it is saying that our goal is to come and hear the characteristics and activities of those pure devotees who are always absorbed in thinking about the dust of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in their heart. Right? So either you can say that in their heart could actually refer to the Lord in the heart, or in their heart they are actually thinking about the Lord. Both ways. Right? Okay. So the goal of hearing, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, the goal of hearing is praised by great devotees. And what is that goal? The goal is to hear and chant of the qualities of persons in whose heart exists the lotus feet of Krishna. So that's why actually Srimad Bhagavatam stands as the highest of all Puranas. Like Narsimha Leela, is it there in other Puranas? Yes, it is there. But what is the perspective there? Focus is more on Narsimha Dev rather than Prahlad. But Srimad Bhagavatam becomes glorious. Why? Focus is on Prahlad rather than Narsimha. So this is the whole point. So Prabhupada says the goal is to actually hear the transcendental qualities of devotees. And then he says, pure devotees cannot be separated from the lotus feet of the Lord even for a moment. Therefore, pure devotees are as glorious as the Lord. Right? And then he says, pure devotees are recommended. It is recommended by the Lord that pure devotees are more worshipful than himself. Krishna himself is saying that my pure devotees, worship of my pure devotees is better than worship of me. Where is the proof for this?
Lord Shiva says, right?
Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnur Aradhanam Pram Tasmat Paratanam Devi Aradhanam. Sorry, Tasmat Paratam Devi Tadiyanam Samachara. Right? Tadiya referring to the devotees. So Vishnu himself is saying, Aradhanam Sarvesham. The best form of worship is what? Sarvesham is Vishnu. Tasmat Parataram. Better than the worship of Vishnu is worship of the devotees of Vishnu. Right? If you hear His Holiness Rajnath Swami Maharaj, he quotes one line of a verse very frequently. Right? This is from Uddhav Gita 11:19:20-24. 11:19:20-24. And what is the phrase that he often quotes? Mad Bhakta Pujya Puja Bhyadika. Puja. Right? So 11, 19, 20, 24. Where the words it says Mad Bhakta. So Krishna himself is saying Puja Abhyadika are significant. Abhyadika means superior quality. The Lord is extremely satisfied with those who offer worship to his pure devotees, and he rewards them accordingly. Right? So basically, worship of devotees is actually more powerful than worshipping the Lord himself. Right? So if you see how Prabhupada established the morning program, when we get up in the morning, curtains open, we see Radha Golokananda. And what are we singing? Tamsaradava. It's like you're facing Radha Golokananda and you're singing Vande Guru Shri Chanaravinda. Right? Why is it? Why did Prabhupada establish like we are looking at Radha Golokananda and we are glorifying Srila Prabhupada? So first point is only by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada we can actually see Radha Golokananda. Right? So that point is there. And further, worship of a devotee is so pleasing. The Lord wakes up and you glorify Srila Prabhupada. And the Lord is so pleased. Oh, see these people, they are chanting the glories of Srila Prabhupada. And the Lord is so pleased with us. So we start our day by worshipping the devotees of the Lord. And then the Lord is very pleased by that. Right. Okay, so that's text number 4. So we'll stop here. So, yeah, worship of the devotee is more potent than worship of the Lord. Prabhupada says in the purport. So this verse is saying the goal of all our hearing about Krishna is to hear about devotees of Krishna. Right? Devotees of Krishna who always have Krishna within their heart, who have the lotus feet of Krishna within their heart, or who are always thinking within their heart about the lotus feet of Krishna. Okay. So thank you all so much. So we'll stop here.
Prabhu,
Yeah.
where can I find a list of the verses you're encouraging the devotees to memorize?
So there is this I don't know if you have this book, Mataji. It's called Bhagavad Ratnamala. Maybe you don't have this book. Yeah, this also. This is all like the most important verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, compiled by Bhaktivedanta Vidyapith, Gaurang Darshan Prabhu and team. So it's called Bhagavad Ratnamala. Ratnamala. So there are two parts to this. This first part is Canto 1 to Canto 6, and then there is second part, Canto 7 to 12. So our goal is by the time we complete our Bhakti Vaibhav, we should know this entire book by heart. Possible? Certainly possible. Even I'm on the journey. I'm trying to learn all the verses by heart. At least up to second canto, like you can kind of with the flow. So let's try to do this. It's a nice, imagine we know all the verses in this entire book. So wonderful. Okay. Okay. Any final comments, questions, realizations?
How do we get that book, Prabhu?
At least those who are registered for Bhakti Vaibhav, you all have a copy, right? Yeah. Those are registered. Initially, when you got the Subodhini books, we got this copy.
Okay. Yeah.
But now it actually, like I wanted to get more, but they're out of print. So finally, I found one copy and Kaushalya Mataji was asking for a long time, so I gave it to her. But
So
this,
you want PDF of it?
I don't have actually. You have? I have another PDF, but that is many more shlokas than what is here. I have one PDF of selected shlokas, but that's much more than this book.
I think I have. If I have, I can share it
Yeah. If you
on.
have, please share. Yes, that'll be very helpful. Right. So this week, let's try to memorize 3.13.4. It is there in page 105 of Ratnamala.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. When is our shloka recitation exam for the second one?
Next Sunday. Yeah, I had actually told earlier itself, like, whenever you're ready, let's do it. But I did not say a deadline. So maybe I should say a deadline, then it will happen. But when can we do? How about like mid-June is your deadline? right? 6 weeks. So by
For
mid-June,
canto.
we have to, for second canto, right? Right, so 12, what is the minimum is 12 shlokas per canto. Okay. So
Prabhu,
for,
your deadline in October last year.
yeah, I know. I gave a deadline, but no one gave. So now let's try to do it. And then, June mid is a deadline. So if you know 12 shlokas, whenever let's message me, we can just do a quick Zoom call and anytime during the week, just like 5 minutes. Just tell the shlokas, tell the meaning. That's it. Right? And it need not be, you don't have to memorize the entire word to word meaning, but you can also, if you are able to explain the entire meaning in your own words, that's also fine. Okay. Okay. So thank you so much. Any final comments, questions, realizations?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I really like that you said that the real faith is that just by hearing it, I will achieve all perfection. If I will not hear this, I will die. But Prabhuji, I have a question. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita that if we worship demigods, then that is avidhi purvakam. But these demigods are also great devotees of the Lord, like Ganesha or Hanumanji or Lord Shiva. Even Durga ji is a great Vaishnavi.
Like the main point there is basically how does Krishna start that section in 7th chapter? His kamestese ritagyana prapadyante anya devata. Like who worships the demigods? Those who have kamestese ritagyana. They are worshipping the demigods with the intention that, oh Ganesh ji, please take away my obstacles to a business so that I can make $1 million. Right? So those who have lost their intelligence just to fulfill material desire, they approach demigod. So yes, so that kind of worship, Krishna is saying avidhi purvakam, right? He's not encouraging. But certainly we respect all living entities, and certainly demigods for sure. They are empowered by the Lord himself. So we respect, right? And then if you see a temple of, like, you're just walking, and in India especially, you see a temple of Ganesh, certainly we offer our obeisances to Ganesh. Right? We offer. He's such an elevated personality. Why not? We offer our obeisance. But our worship, our heart is to Krishna. And by worshipping Krishna, all the demigods are pleased. So,
So the intention is that we can
yeah,
worship that.
intention behind
Oh Ganesh ji, remove all the obstacles in my path of bhakti to Krishna.
it. And that's why Brahma Samhita is so beautiful, because we are already praying to Ganesh ji. Yat pada pallava yugam vinidhaya kumbha. Offer to Ganesh ji. Then we pray to Lord Shiva, Shiram yatadadi vikara vishiryoga. Pray to Durga ji. Everything is there. The Brahma Samhita is also. Divin Telemati.
So I wanted to know the when we said that Gayatri Mantra, the Om Bhurvas, they were created by Brahmaji. But isn't it that the flute of Krishna, he hears and then there comes a Gayatri Mantra to Brahmaji, and
Yeah.
then he starts to do the tapa, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So how do we understand this? See, like how when Brahmaji created the four Kumaras. Actually, when Brahmaji created the four Kumaras, we mentioned this point that they were already there. The four Kumaras are just like Brahma. They are actually not subjected to the annihilation from Swargalok and below. They are already above, right? So when it says Brahmaji created the four Kumaras, it's not that he actually created, they're already there, but they appeared at that moment. So similarly, Gayatri Mantra, we can say, it was already there, but at that point, it appeared through the mouth of Brahmaji. Right? So it's always there. So we say that how when Krishna instructed Brahmaji, his flute sound, it came in the form of Gayatri and expanded into the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. Okay. Okay. Stop here, everyone. Good?
I have a quick question, not related to that, but I have seen in Sri Sampradayam, they just like in Shiva temple, they go to Lord Ganesha for obstacles removal and all. They first go and circumambulate Vishwaksena. Any idea, Prabhuji? So if you go to Venkateshwar Swami temple, first they ask you to go and circumambulate Vishwaksena and then go and see
Yeah.
Lord
I'll give you
Venkateshwar.
the answer, Mati. Like even when we do a yagya, there is a part where we invoke Vishwaksena. So I'll post on the group the answer. Okay.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. So we'll end here.
I have a
Yeah.
question too. Prabhuji, here worship of devotee means the devotee who has Lord Krishna in their heart, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
So, what the 10 offenses worship anyone. So, can you clarify more, Prabhuji? Who here devotees is different from all these demigods, right, Prabhuji? Demigods are in the position of helping Krishna.
Yeah. See, basically, when we talk of like we want to hear the character of the devotees. In our school, what do we say? Devotion means pure devotion, right? We are in the school of pure devotional service. We are not sadharan devotion. We are somehow got admission into the school of pure devotion. So whenever we talk of devotion, we are talking of pure devotee. And that's why the stress is here who have Lord Krishna's lotus feet in the heart. So demigods, they are not necessarily pure devotees. They are devotees, but they are more of sakam devotees, right? So we worship the devotees. That basically means we worship Srila Prabhupada. We worship, Bhakti Saraswati Thakur. We worship Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. We worship the Goswamis of Vrindavan. In our line, all these devotees, we actually worship all these personalities. Like throughout the entire, if I see our calendar in the whole year, we have listed all these. Oh, this is the appearance day of so and so personality. Why? Because we worship these personalities, right? And we discuss their pastimes, we talk about their glories, and by that we are actually pleasing Krishna more. Like last Friday was appearance of Vrindavan Das Thakur. So we spoke on, class. I gave class on Friday morning. We spoke on glories of Vrindavan Das Thakur, and that is so pleasing. So because we are in this parampara, we want to glorify all the acharyas in this parampara. That's our first duty. And then we can go a little beyond that. But, this is our first duty. We worship all these. Our Guru, Srila Prabhupada, our acharyas, we worship them. Yeah? Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyasya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Hare
Thank you so much, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.